stories on there.
He is such a great writer. Hi everybody. How you doing? Happy Thursday. Good afternoon. Tonight's the night. What are you guys expecting out of tonight? Give me a comment. Share with me in the comments section. I want to know what you guys are expecting. Are you expecting a surprise? I have to be honest with you. I'm kind of expecting a surprise.
I think there's a lot of leaks going on. Not leaks, but like people who have seen the draft and they're saying China.
Why does anybody get to see a draft of anything? How about no? Does that work for everybody? No.
Well, the nice thing is with Trump, we know he goes off script. So
he does like to weave.
Yeah.
Just because you guys.
Oh, let me don't.
Is there something that you smell? Is it a flower? Is it fragrance? Is it the smell of your grandpa's tobacco? Whatever it was, my grandpa used to smoke Borkum Riff tobacco in his pipe. And if I smell Borkum Riff and you don't smell tobacco anymore, it's just weed everywhere. Right? Everyone's like,
damn it, Grandpap, you should have smoked weed.
Every time I smell it, I think of him.
You know, it's funny you say that. When someone walks into a cigar shop, a woman, it's either or smells like my grandfather.
Reminds me of someplace and someone I love. I love tulip blooms. I'm just gonna say, I mean, I know I'm a broken record. Literally, I have a whole bag. I have a whole bag of tulip blooms. They're like, well, you can use anything. You can talk about the rainfall. I'm like,
what's that?
Yeah, no, it's lotion. It's phenomenal. You could talk about their epic moisture body butter. Yeah, you could do that.
Kate loves that.
You could talk about their satin balm. You can talk about their epic moisture again. Oh, I should give you one of those. And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about those. I want to talk about those.
I want to talk about the castor oil I got all over myself. I want to talk about the velour.
Tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. Use my name, 10% off. Just do it. Put it by your kitchen sink, okay? Put it by your kitchen sink. You're like I am. You're doing dishes. You're cleaning all the time. After you're done, you hang up the towel, right? Set it so it dries out. Take a hit. 2 of them maybe. Rub them in. And then just be like,
and then carry it to your foot massager.
Give it like 3 minutes to absorb. And then, oh my gosh. Okay, tulipblooms.shop/Wendy. By the way, I got this in the mail yesterday. What? 10% off? What? See, I'm a customer of theirs, so they're sending me one of their mailers. What?
What?
What'd you say?
It's hot. My bed's hot. I have to air conditioning, a fan.
You can have the 11-inch comfort, the 12-inch signature, or if you like it, luxe.
I don't know what luxe is. That sounds like out of my price range.
That's probably 1%er.
Yeah.
The Zelienople is 12% or 12 inches. No, but their prices, I mean, look at starting at $1,749 for their top mattress. We'll talk more about them, but geez, that's crazy. That's crazy. I can tell you right now that Brock's expensive mattress, when he was pobrecito, he was poor, he was broke. It was probably 4 times what that is. How much was your mattress?
$4,000, a little over $4,000. But it's 15 years old.
Yeah, I get it. It's time.
It's 15 years old.
It's time. We'll get you a new mattress. How about that? I'll get you a new mattress, Brock. You hang with me, baby. I'll take you places.
Wow.
Hey, George, thanks for the dots.
Wrong dots, George. Wrong dots.
I was thinking about the pretzel dots, but you gave me the gumdrop dots, which I sucked down 2 packages of already. So thanks for that, George.
Fatty Bobalatti.
Fatty Bobalatti. Okay, what is it? $765. Let's go, guys.
So GhostBed is back this week. So
we're killing the internet, guys. 2,000 people. 86 people are watching on X.
Look out.
I'm telling you
breakage
what.
of internet. Starlink's going down.
Things are starting to shake. There's a vibration in the force. We're about to take down the entire simulation.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at me.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we are converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hey!
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you and welcome home. I mean that. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, common sense conservatism is not complicated. It never is. It's the good old-fashioned traditional family values we all grew up with. They don't age out. They don't become old or stale or out of date. In fact, America is dying to go back to kinder, simpler, better times. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're on our way. I really do. And if this is the first time you've heard us here at the Wendy Bell radio program, I invite you to join us. Follow us, wendybellradio.com. Join the live video stream, the chat. Come back always. We love having you. We're going to talk more about what the president is probably going to be doing tonight in his primetime address, as there's this ever present question. Are the big three TV networks even going to cover it? Well, if they don't, that's going to get interesting. I got it all for you, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 3 hours. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, the most pervasive storyline, I think, to come out of the last several years, certainly since 2020, but most importantly, since President Trump took office again in January 2025, it's been about security. It's been about election security. It's about making sure that you and that precious thing that you get to do as a privileged member of these United States doesn't get stolen by a machine, a foreign adversary, an illegal alien, someone who wants to do harm to us, that your vote, which is sacrosanct, is yours and yours only. And this conversation of security and fraud and rigging and stolen elections, and anybody out there who doesn't think that there's some element of fraud with elections is fooling themselves, right? Because of course there is. It's gotten to the point, however, where the fraud has surpassed the reasonable, believable votes. And now it seems like the lion's share of what we get are bogus results. And that's not how you run a country. That's not how you have people connected to a system. That's not how you have faith and trust in any kind of administration. And it's not working, right? So COVID brought in all of the mail-in votes. We understood how that all happened. It was fraud. It was corruption. It was opening the door. How much can we get away with? And my Lord, I don't even know if they realized they were going to be able to pull it off, because they had tried it with Hillary Clinton. They had tried to do the same thing with Hillary Clinton, but President Trump obviously won. So Spencer Pratt comes out, of all people. This guy could have taken his toys and gone home, right? I'm not playing anymore. The system's rigged. I'm not going to be able to fix it. It's bigger than I am. Nothing's going to change. Screw it all. But he didn't. He came up with a video in the last several hours, which I really like. And he talks about the harvesting of ballots, which is 100% illegal, unless you live in California where they've rewritten all the rules. So things like Nithya Raman can happen, right? Where you can have 1, 2, 3 mayoral candidates and the first two go to a kind of runoff, right? And then in the 11th hour, have everybody from Skid Row cast a ballot for Nithya Raman. And you're not supposed to pay attention to that, right? What I like about Spencer, it's almost like he's the guy that went out there as the sacrificial lamb. He had to be the one to pay the price to show everybody how outrageous the fraud is, how egregious the changes to the rules are. And he put out a video with a suggestion, which is, by my accounts, legendary, completely necessary, and 100% doable. Listen to this.
The game is rigged. You can play if you choose, but the house will never lose. The solution is so simple. Mail ballots need to be banned. They're too vulnerable to fraud. It's also a laughably inefficient and primitive system. We should be voting by phone. All of our phones have high-level security and biometric ID with face and fingerprint recognition. We already use our phones for banking, medical records, TSA, crypto. If it's secure enough for all of that, it's secure enough for voting. Every phone vote will be posted to a public ledger anonymously with a unique ID that only you can possess, so you can go online to the ledger, validate that your vote was counted, and every item you vote for was properly cast. The results would be perfect and instantaneous, with results at 8 p.m. on election night, the moment polls close. Not only would the vote be more secure, more efficient, and more accurate, turnout would skyrocket. This is a 360 win, and there's literally no good reason to not vote this way in this modern era, unless, of course, you don't want the fraud to stop.
So skyrocket, that's what he's talking about. Voting by your phone. Now, it's a great idea, and I want you to pay close attention because it's going to gain traction. This is going to start making headlines, and people are going to respond to it. It's not the idea that I want you to pay attention to. It's the response to it. It's almost like it's a trap. Anybody who comes out in, let's say, technology or in the government or in politics, anybody who comes out against this idea of voting by cell phone. What does everybody have on planet Earth? We all have our own cell phones. What do we do with our cell phones? Every single daggone thing. Anybody who comes out and blanket poo-poos the idea of voting by cell, right, doesn't want the cheat to stop. They want the endless morass. They want the ballots to come in forever, the ridiculous systems of hand counting, the adjudication, which is simply performative, the entire process, which is intended to, as a charade, make you feel like you've done something for your civic duty, right? You showed up, you did that thing, and here are the results, and you're supposed to just take it and walk away. This would erase a lot of the avenues of the fraud. There's a way this can all be encrypted. There's a way it can be made impermeable. There's no way in the year 2026 we can't do this and do this well, do it perfectly, and stop the endless talk of fraud. This stops the whole paying the people, the drug addicts, and the zombies down in Skid Row. It stops the ballot harvesting among the Somalians in Minnesota. Name your city. There is an election fraud grift going on there. I mean, think about it. We were able to vote by phone for what? American Idol, X Factor, The Voice, Big Brother, and Dancing with the Stars. That's okay. But doing it like this for elections, all the people are going to come out and tell you it's not possible, it's not safe, it's not realistic, that's not real, it can be hacked. All of these people don't want the fraud to stop. And I want to tell you something that I found just right before we went on the air. I Googled, do other countries, does anybody vote by cell phone? One. I found one. And they've been doing it beautifully. Did you know it's Estonia? Yes, 2011. Estonians started voting by mobile phone. And I want to read this to you because it seems pretty cut and dry. Parliament has approved a law making Estonia the first country to allow voting by mobile phone. Lawmakers approved a measure Thursday allowing citizens to vote by mobile phone in the next parliamentary elections in 2011. Estonians were asked to cast internet ballots in last year's parliamentary vote. The mobile voting system, which has already been tested, requires the voters obtain free, authorized chips for their phones. That would have to be controlled if we did it like this, said Raul Kaidro, the spokesperson of the certification center, which issues personal ID cards in Estonia. Oh my gosh, they have personal ID cards too? That is so weird in Estonia. Meantime, here in America, the Democrats want you to believe that Black people don't know how to get photo identification, right? The chip identifies the voter, verifies the voter's identity, and authorizes participation in the electronic voting system, this guy said. The system and the software have proven effective, have proven this was 15 years ago, and reliable in an independent security audit. And this guy said he expected the 2011 vote to be the first of its kind, though he says neighboring Finland and Sweden have the software and technical capabilities to do a similar cellular election. Aren't these the countries that also managed COVID and the jab a lot better than we did? So weird what happens over there, right? So think about it. What if you just got rid of all of the paper? Get rid of all of the machines? Everybody has their own personal device, their own handheld computer. Every single person does. And there would have to be a database of known registered voters connected to the phones, and you'd have to figure it out. But it might not be something you could do for the midterms, but you could for 2028. Wouldn't that be a kick in the pants for everybody who has salivating dreams of becoming the next president? Uh-oh. Look, ladies and gentlemen, other places have done much bigger things than we here in these United States. Maybe it's time we get with the program. And Spencer Pratt, you're my hero. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I got a question for you. Who do you trust more? Two groups of people. You got the media, and then you've got police. Who do you trust more? Oh my, the study, the results. What? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I don't know. I'm sure people out there, I'm sure many of you hate this idea.
Yes.
Hate this idea. I love it. I love hearing your responses. What the heck is Wendy smoking today? I don't know, guys. I could see it. I could absolutely see it. Okay, tell me what your number one trepidation is. Go ahead. Tell me on the comments here, and I'll refresh my computer as I'm telling you guys about what. Go ahead, Brock.
I was just gonna say the argument. I don't know if I'm for it or not. I didn't really think about it, but the argument of saying it's not secure enough. We've already established nothing is secure anymore.
That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it would take, when there's an idea and there's an immediate collapse on the idea or a jump on the idea, you have to ask yourself why. So anybody in technology, in government, in politics, you're like, that's ridiculous. Really? Why? Because what we're doing right now is working so swimmingly. So I would pay more attention, not to the bells and whistles and the ins and outs of how it would work, but even positing it as a proposal. People go, look at you. You guys are all going haywire. Like, right? But if you would pay attention to what the
bank by phone. How many pay by phone?
I pay my taxes by phone. I do medical records by phone. I mean, literally, there's a reason there are 7 layers of authentication on the phone. Right? So nobody wants to be connected to an overall grid or something that can control that. And I understand that. But if people, before they would hear, okay, here's the proposal. Here's what we're proposing. This is what we think would be really beneficial. These are the potential pitfalls that we'd have to talk about. And this is what it would cost vis-a-vis the savings of printing out a bunch of jazz and mailing it all over the world. Right? Then you don't need an absentee ballot. Right?
Sherry
then you
says,
don't.
But not everyone has a cell phone. Sherry, my grandmother just turned 100 years old. And she uses a cell phone.
She's got one.
And yes.
She's got one. You know, But see the reasons people are saying why it wouldn't work? I have no idea if it's a good idea or a bad idea. None. I think it's interesting that Spencer Pratt put it out there as much as I am interested in my ghost bed. So how about this? Ghost bed RV mattresses. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. 10% off with my name, 101 night sleep night guarantee. Get one. They're affordable. They're made in America. They're fabulous. They keep you cool. Sleep all summer in comfort. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. I love this. VIP savings. How you doing?
You're
Love it.
VIP.
I was born a VIP, babe.
Wow.
Or you're watching on the phone or on the computer and you're like, she's literally lost her mind voting by cell phone. Are you nuts? But why? What's your visceral reaction to it? Right? We know nothing. We have no idea what the parameters would be, the limitations would be. We have suspicions, right? But pay attention because this is gonna come out. This proposal is gonna come out, and there's gonna be a bunch of people who poo all over it right out of the gates. Oh, it's a bad idea. Not you. You're allowed to have your opinion. But people who could be in a position to change what is already a highly corrupt, rigged, and affected process here in America. Anybody who doesn't want to sit at the table with somebody else who has an idea clearly wants the fraud and the malfeasance to continue. So I just wanted to plant that seed. Don't think I'm nuts. I just think we deserve a better way. We deserve to think outside of the box. We deserve to break through the stupid narratives that, things like all cops are bastards. You guys remember that? I had a fun little neighbor across the street, little girl, run over to my house and take my "We Back the Blue" sign and write foul words all over it and write "all cops are bastards" on it. I was like, really? That's a product of your upbringing, your education, and what you're watching on social media. Apparently, that narrative that the police are the bad guys, that we should defund, demonetize, do whatever to them because they don't make us better, they make things worse. Yeah, that's not shared by a majority of America, it appears. Did you guys know that 3 times more Americans trust the police than the media? Of course we do. Of course we do, even among Democrats. This might be one of those polls that brings independents, Democrats, and Republicans together and has all of us looking at each other being like, this, of course, the media suck. They're toxic. Bad news for the media after years of nonstop lies and propaganda aimed at delegitimizing the police, building support for pro-crime policies like eliminating the police in prisons, which led to nationwide race riots, of course. 3 times more Americans trust the police than trust the media. Media trust is currently, oh my, this is really, really bad. And by the way, NBC, CBS, ABC, listen to what I'm saying to you, because if you guys flirt with the idea of not carrying a presidential address tonight, I hope you go down in bankruptcy balls of flames. Media trust is currently at 14%. Trust in newspapers is at 17%, while trust in the police is at 45%. Notably, even among Democrats, most trust the police more than the media. Of course. Of course. It's almost like years of bad narratives and fake news and storylines that paint the police as the bad guy. Well, it didn't really stick the landing, but the media is getting its just desserts. Democrat trust in newspapers, terrible, 22%. Trust in TV news, again, among Democrats, is at 16%. Trust in the police among Democrats is at 30%. Let's talk about Republicans. 75% of Republicans trust the police. 10% trust newspapers. Whoa. 6% of Republicans trust television news. These are well-deserved data points, if you believe polling. How about independents? 40% of independents trust the police, and only 16% trust the media. Like, of course, this feel-good take also misses the point. It's been a long time since the average American would admit to trusting the media, but that doesn't stop the media's message from penetrating and shaping the public's worldview, whether it's on the police, on immigration, on voting by cell phone, or anything else. People just don't trust the media, and exposure to its narratives, however, we should say, is still corrosive, and it still penetrates. This is why the whole news cycle since Monday, when MSNBC posted the story about Trump's going to have this address and he's going to talk about this and he's going to talk about elections and blah, 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 blah. And then Trump comes out 10 hours later and he's like, hey, I know they stole my thunder, but Thursday at 9, I'm going to be coming out. The reason why the narrative is what it is to not debunk what the president is going to talk about. It's to pre-bunk. It is to paint with doubt, right? Anything that's going to be said, we're going to instead put out a narrative that you cannot trust this president. He's obsessed with 2020. He won't let it go that he lost. He can't admit it. He doesn't have the ability. And yet all he is saying is we have proof beyond a reasonable doubt that it didn't just happen in a few swing states and a few swing cities, that it was rampant in a lot of our states. And anybody who doesn't want that to end is the problem. So for everybody to get their undies in a bunch and pants and hair on fire before this address tonight at 9 o'clock, who's worried about elections and what the president is going to talk about? Do you or don't you want a system that we, the people, can depend on? Because if your answer is no, well, then we know that you're one of the cheaters. Pretty easy, right? That said, when we come back, the deep state is sweating these final hours before Trump's primetime address. And the news is desperate to find details to leak to you in advance. The newest leak. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
So I agree with a lot of you. If we could get the mail-in ballots out, I'm 100% vote that day of paper ballot. But to just ask you guys, please, and this isn't pinpointing, put it in the comment because I'll go back later and read it. But how many of you put all your information in your phone or on a computer? Because
everything.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
You know, I'd feel more secure, honestly, with the facial recognition than I would handing it to the old lady who takes my ballot. I walk it over, hand it to somebody, they go, boo. Oh, here it is. I mean, I have no way of knowing. So, I mean, I get the trepidation because of all the hacks and stuff like that, but I do my banking. If I order something online, I've got to put my address, my credit card number, I could see both sides. I really can.
You can set your house alarm by your phone. You can
start your car.
You can start your car. You can search the stars. I mean, like literally. Now, I get your visceral reaction.
Right.
But pay attention to your reaction. Because sometimes things are proposed as a negotiation. So did you guys notice with the Save America Act? There are 5 elements of the Save America Act. It was same-day voting, paper ballots, no more machines. It was voter ID, citizenship proof. And then it was no more men and women's sports and no more transgender surgeries on children. which are two kind of oddball things to throw in with election integrity stuff, right? So what things got peeled out of the Save America Act and got stuck in that reconciliation bill? They kind of left the tranny stuff on the sidelines and took the three things they wanted, be like, all right, well, we'll negotiate. Well, we just want these three things instead. So if somebody suggests we should go to a cell phone system, smartphone system of voting.
If that's no good, then we need to get rid of mail-in balloting.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm so appreciative that you understand and can better articulate what I'm trying to say. So
did you just pay me a call?
Yes.
I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm cashing out. We've hit. Nothing else good can happen today. I'm leaving.
So I had a really rough week, exercise wise, and I blew it last weekend. In the heat, I overdid it. I had a limited window to do some landscaping stuff before we had construction things that were all happening. And so I needed to do a lot of heavy lifting, and I overdid it. And then to just ice it, I then golfed with Joe and his dad. And so after digging in your hands and holding on to the golf, I've literally been struggling ever since. And thank God for Blood Flow 7, because I was telling the gal I work out with, Mary Beth, today, I'm like, I'm just so gassed. She's like, Wendy, you realize that you're doing everything and up a notch. Every time I see you, it's like up a notch. You haven't not completed a single thing that you've done, that you've attempted. I'm going to say a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I would have been like, pal, I don't have the juice. I'm sorry. And I've literally left because it was so frustrating. Blood Flow 7 opens up your blood vessels, and the amount of blood that can flow freely goes up dramatically, and you feel it. You experience it. It becomes part of you because your stamina changes, your strength changes, how far you go changes. If it wasn't for this, I would have walked out today. And it kept me in the game. bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Love it. 30% off everything at Juvenon. And by the way, I got a little note yesterday from somebody who was very pleased with the show. She was super, I'm going to pull it up if I have time here.
Yeah,
I've gotten a million messages. All right, let's see. The person was upset that I was talking about GLP ones, like the shots, the weight loss. I'll find it. I need to have my glasses on, and I didn't put them on. Upset about me talking about GLPs, the hormone for weight loss. And I'm going to make I'm going to tell you why what you think I'm saying and what I'm saying are two different things. So I appreciate.
What is it?
I appreciate that. I don't have it pulled up right now, Brock. And I have so damn many emails. It's just it's just a little crazy. I mean, it would help if I closed out any of my freaking windows.
Maybe we start with the phones with absentee ballots.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the thing. Let's see how this works with just absentee ballots. I don't know.
Did you guys notice your visceral reaction to what I said, though? Hell no. No. No.
Yeah, someone said, I think I'm leaving if she's for this. And I'm like, really? Like, I disagree with one thing you say.
Yeah, why?
And I'm leaving? I mean, I don't want you to leave.
What do you know about the technology? I don't know anything. That's why I'm asking.
Don't listen just because it's confirmation bias. Like that you think what they think, so they're okay. Think for yourself.
Radio program. Okay, so my little Chinese spy balloon that I floated over you as the open of today's program about the potential. What if you could vote by your cell phone? The visceral reaction that is garnered from you, I can see in real time if you're on our chat at wendybellradio.com. There's not anybody who I really saw who was like, I think it's a great idea. I think it's something that we should consider. It's like we're all programmed from our own experiences and the stuff that we hear and see and in the media that we absorbed to be distrusting of technology. Makes sense. I get it. But should we be trusting of a completely antiquated, inefficient, co-opted, and corrupted system that uses something so preposterous? One person, one vote, one ballot. That's what we're all supposed to do. How's that working for us? It's not. What if this is something that we use as a negotiation to get rid of the damn machines? Okay, so you don't like the vote by cell phone. All right. Well, we don't like the electronic machines. So I guess if we want to scrap those two things, then, well, gee whiz, I guess we're just stuck with same day voting by paper ballot, which I think is what everybody wants. Can we just go back to the way it was? Can we go back to the way? We can't go back to the way it was because they brought in 20 freaking million people and they spent hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions of our dollars to court these people to come here. Do you think they're going to let an election cycle pass without cashing in somewhere, somehow on all of that hard work and theft of our money as an investment in getting these people, illegals, to vote Democrat? That's the system. That's the game. That's what we're up against. And as you saw in California, it doesn't matter who shows up. They anoint who they want the same way in 2016 they anointed Hillary Clinton and big-footed Bernie Sanders out. Bernie Sanders is no different than Spencer Pratt. Different politics, perhaps. Same experience. How many more times are we going to go through this? See, this Democrat socialist / communist movement going on in this country, this is Bernie Sanders' revenge freaking tour. They big-footed that guy 3 times. They pushed him aside and said, no, no, no. And yet the people who voted for him, who agreed with his messaging that billionaires with influence on politics are bad, blah, 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 whatever Bernie Sanders thinks. He didn't go away. He hung in there and his movement grew. This is the great American revenge tour. And it's not on the American people. It's on the Democratic Party. And if the Democrats don't see that, which I don't believe they do, by the time they wake up to it, it's going to be too late. And that's going to be bad for all of us. President Trump is going to come out tonight, ostensibly. We're going to hear him talk about China. It's been leaked enough times, for heaven's sakes. This is what we're hearing. I'll pull up Paul Sperry from Real Clear Politics. He reports the really big news President Trump plans to announce in Thursday's primetime address, according to an administration source who has read a draft of his speech. Why do we do that? Why do we allow anybody to read? Like, literally, if I'm president, I'm going to write a speech. I'm going to share it with like 2 people and one will be my husband. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're not going to leak, but they all do. Why? Includes bombshell evidence that China interfered in the 2020 election to help Joe Biden win, including hacking into state voter registration databases and stealing information on tens of thousands of voters, ostensibly to manufacture mail-in ballots for Biden. How dumb does my cell phone voting sound now? The evidence, which details alarming vulnerabilities of election infrastructure, is based on 4 sets of declassified documents set for release tomorrow, which were recently unearthed from suppressed FBI, CIA, and ODNI records, according to the well-placed source. The intelligence has been buried in a massive cover-up of Beijing's hacking capabilities and influence operations aimed at supporting Biden. Well, who wouldn't want Joe Biden to be president, right? If you're a foreign country and you want to continue steamrolling the American people, you want to still sell your stuff to the American people, but charged through the nose for American products to be sold on your homeland. Yeah, you want Joe Biden. Hell yeah, you do. Other vulnerabilities compromising the U.S. election system, according to a draft of the president's speech, include the existence of more than 100,000 non-citizens, including illegal immigrants, on voter rolls. That's going to be a drop in the bucket. You know it's going to be millions. It just is. It's just the way it's going to be. But no, that's not possible because that's against the law. Okay. They think you're stupid. So now we got Axios, by the way, is saying that the big three networks are in kind of a bind, right? Trump vote fraud speech traps TV networks. I love how everybody knows what he's going to talk about. They're so convinced. It's day 3 of the news cycle of this, right? President Trump's primetime address Thursday night is forcing TV networks to choose, air potential 2020 election falsehoods. Really? Really? That's what you're going with? That the president is going to tell you fake news? What has the president said that hasn't turned out to be true? Honestly, think about that for a minute. That Mexico is going to pay for the wall. Okay, that's one. Give me something else. What has he told you via Truth Social or an address in the Oval Office or to a joint session of Congress or to a reporter, one of the hundreds he talks to every week on Air Force One or on the tarmac? What has he said to you? What has he told us? That ended up being wrong. What was the lie? What led you the wrong way? What gave you false hope? Why? Why don't you believe what he says? Axios. President Trump's primetime address Thursday night is forcing TV networks to choose air potential 2020 election falsehoods or risk backlash from a White House that has shown little hesitation in confronting the media. Or the people at Axios, who apparently suck, don't see door number 3, which is backlash from the American people who then all of a sudden, if they were still sleepwalking, saw very clearly that the big 3 networks are in the pockets of the Democratic Party and the deep state and never should be watched again and should get no American taxpayer dollars, period. They should lose their licenses. You have an obligation to provide public information on public airwaves. And if you choose not to, well, you can fungu and I'll never watch you again. And you want to see like Nike, Starbucks, Bud Light, you see people get canceled, wait until you see what happens to the networks. Axios doesn't really see things that way. I want to play this to you, for you. This is much like Adam Schiff's dreamscape of Trump's call with Zelensky. Remember? I'm going to tell you once, see? And you're going to listen to what I say, see? And we're like, what is up with this guy? Freaking weirdo. The liberal media is desperate to shape for you tonight's presidential address as this attempt to steal the midterms. Because, you know, Donald Trump has done so much that's been nefarious, that's been vote flipping, right? He's the guy that's always meddling and stuff. That he's the one who's going to try to steal the midterms. That's exactly what he wants to do. Right. This is where it gets scary. The guy you're about to hear is named Tom Rogers. Tom isn't just some talking head. He's the dude who founded CNBC. And he's saying yesterday on television, live television, well, I really think that Trump is going to try to steal the midterms. Really?
I think we have a combination of desperation and obsession on Trump's part here to do something to overturn the 2026 elections. Clearly, he's been frustrated by Congress not passing Save America. He's been frustrated by the courts who have shot down his attempts to change process when it comes to the midterms. And the question is, so what does he do? And I think the speech tomorrow night, along with a number of other speeches he's given, is about laying the groundwork for him to take action. He's going to claim that the 2026 midterms were rigged if Democrats in key districts win that would turn Congress into Democratic majorities. He will say the results can't be finalized until it's all investigated because there was foreign interference or illegal immigrants voting. He would then probably order Congress to organize around Republican majorities and say you can't seat members in districts where we're questioning the results.
Newsflash, Tom Rogers, the guy who founded CNBC, why are you spending so much time dreamscaping, crystal balling what you think Trump is going to do? And why don't you be outraged by the degree of theft of our elections for the last 20 years? Where are you, sir? You're a puppet. You're a pawn. You show everybody who you are. We're basic people. We want to choose. Don't tell us what he's going to do. He's shown us what he's going to do. He wants elections secured. And if you're against that, Tom, you must be okay with cheating. He continues, Tommy Boy's been drinking a little too much of the derangement juice, and he predicts riots. What?
I think what would follow from that is enormous street protest, probably stimulating violence on his part by bringing in troops. And then it could get really scary. There's something that hasn't been focused on at all called PEDS, or Presidential Emergency Action Documents. These are highly classified documents that have been in place since the Eisenhower administration. When you hear Trump saying, I have a lot of powers that people don't even know about, or I have very strong emergency powers, he's probably referring to those. They've never been used. They're in place to be signed in the event of a nuclear attack and civil society totally disintegrates and president has to take some kind of emergency action. I think he's laying the groundwork to be able to put those in effect, arrest and detain people without trial, seize election machines. Obviously, all that would be litigated, but we know the courts move a lot slower than the administration would move in that kind of circumstance. And I think we're headed with all this communist threat talk of bigger threat than World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, and 9/11. He's talking about something that he thinks is he's going to be able to turn into a major crisis to take actions like that. We'd be naive not to think so.
And we're shocked that the media by Republicans have 6%, television news, 6% credibility. We believe in you, 6% of us, 6% of Republicans. What, 16% of Democrats? How about, you guys remember when the news used to be about what happened and not predicting what was going to happen because people actually had jobs to do? Oh, yeah, which was reporting the news. They forgot how to do that. Huh. Maybe that's why nobody trusts them anymore. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, a new Quinnipiac poll has just dropped, and it has to do with Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman. The inclusive party, those Democrats, they said, get out. Wow. Next. Like we're sitting around for 3 freaking news sites, 3 days. Well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, four news cycles, 4 24-hour days of these people telling you what he's going to say. Well, I heard from my sources. Isn't there something else we could be talking about? Why don't we wait and hear what the guy has to say?
I'll say this, though.
Let him talk.
He's got
more bang for his buck, boy.
He couldn't pay to advertise for it this much. This is all free advertisement. This is Donald Trump getting 4 days of the news cycle.
He owns them.
Even if you hate Donald Trump, at this point,
they were talking about it in the gym today.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
At this point, you're like, I got to hear what he's going to say. I got to hear it.
And so if you're one of the big 3 networks and you don't cover this,
I think you should have your license pulled.
100%.
This is an American thing. Like
100%.
President's speeches have always been taken. If MSNBC is going to come in and go, we're not going to take him because he's lying, whatever. Nobody watches MSNBC anyways.
That's so dangerous. That's censorship, which is un-American, as Brock and I learned. Okay.
We were told via poster.
All right. So I just get I thought I had it pulled up. I guess I deleted this woman's message, but I didn't mean to.
So while you're looking at salty dog for you, all of them are going to cover it. Don't let them fool you. Here's one of the reasons you know. Because if they think someone else is going to cover it, they're going to cover it because they don't want to lose.
Got it found. That's why every single newsroom has all the other stations' televisions.
Absolutely.
Up. And you're like, oh, what do they have?
Breaking news?
Why aren't we there?
News in that.
I'm like, how about we do our news?
Yeah.
How about we do our news? Dear, okay, this is Alan, my friend, Al Good Cool, on Rumble. He's the one who does all the numbers for us. And he's like, this Warren in Virginia. Hi, Warren. Found you recently, liked what I was hearing, but then your endorsement of a GLP product turned me off completely. Do you realize how dangerous that class of pharma is? I might suggest you examining that product more closely. It's poison, and your listeners should be able to expect better with your product endorsement. If you can so easily hawk that product, it throws red flags everywhere. Yeah, but this doesn't have GLP in it. Wait. This isn't a big pharma product, Warren in Virginia. This is an alternative. That's why I say this isn't pharma. It doesn't have toxins in it. It's not a dangerous product at all, in fact. And that's why I do talk about it, right? At the bottom of this package, there's a frequently asked questions section that addresses what's in it, how it works, etc. Then at the bottom of the page on the homepage on the site, there's a link that says critical references, and it lists all of the studies related to it, organized by product, lots of information there. The GLP-1, obviously not a real GLP-1 like the injections are pharmaceuticals. They are natural ingredients that boost GLP-1 hormone support. People don't understand because they don't know the difference between the two. This is not a GLP-1. It acts as such in your body, but it's got natural ingredients, and all of them are listed. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. GLP-1 Gold 30% off. This is for people who have lots of weight to lose. It's a dietary supplement. Check it out. And Warren, thank you. I'm glad you're watching. Glad you're here. And I hope that. Believe them, majority of them, but they're fun to kind of look at, chew on, see how they resonate with you. This one is about Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman. Apparently, Democrats aren't really all that interested in having him in the party anymore here in Pennsylvania, which is so weird because they'll take the transgender folks, they'll take the Democrat, socialists, communists, Marxists, from the river to the sea folks. We'll take them all. But if you're John Fetterman and you don't vote like a rubber stamp, get the hell out. It's just so weird, isn't it? Headline from the unionbulletin.com. Democratic Senator John Fetterman has more support among Pennsylvania Republicans than GOP Senator Dave McCormick does. How's that? Right? How's that? See, here's what I like about the Republicans that I hang out with. And I think this is probably going to be fair to say. We don't care if you have a different point of view. We believe we can coexist, right? And if you are onto something and you believe what you believe and you are strong in your beliefs, we'll support you. We don't have to have you say exactly what we say. Democrats demand fealty. They demand 100% loyalty, rubber stamping. There is no room in the Democratic Party for a guy who's 6'8", wears Carhartt hoodies all the time, and doesn't vote the way they always want. Senator John Fetterman. has insisted he has no plans to leave the Democratic Party despite continued attempts to sway him. He says, I remain strongly pro-choice, pro-weed, pro-LGBT, pro-SNAP, pro-labor, even pro-ribeye. He wrote an opinion piece published in the Washington Post in May. But if he changed his mind, a new poll shows he might have a home in Pennsylvania's GOP. Just under half of registered voters in the state approve of how Fetterman is handling his job as a U.S. Senator. This is according to Quinnipiac poll released yesterday. But the vast majority of the first-term Democrat support comes from voters in the opposing party. 77% of surveyed Republicans said they approved of Fetterman, while just 19% of Democrats say they do. That's a higher share of support even than for Republican Senator Dave McCormick that he got from his own party, with 68% of surveyed Republicans approving of his job performance. So Fetterman gets 77% of the Republican support in Pennsylvania, and our Republican senator gets 68%. Go figure that out. So there's this whole controversy. They're now teaming up. John Fetterman and Dave McCormick, the two Pennsylvania senators, are teaming up in some kind of a fundraising effort as Pennsylvania Democrats literally are trying to encourage Fetterman to leave the party. Fox and Friends yesterday maybe it was this morning, it was yesterday. They had a very interesting blurb on Democrats losing one way or another by not backing John Fetterman. If he switches to the GOP, do Republicans primary someone against him, or do they take John Fetterman to keep the train moving? Listen to the conversation. Interesting.
What's going to be interesting is what Fetterman does.
Right.
Does he want to run again? Because he had some health problems.
He's going to get a primary
He looks healthier.
challenge.
And
yes.
Does he run if you primary him, maybe he runs as a Republican.
Wow.
And if he does stay in the Democratic Party, do Republicans even run someone against him? So, because they work so well together,
Yes.
and he's been so, he visited Mar-a-Lago. He doesn't visit Trump, they don't talk all the time, but President Trump sees what he's doing.
Yeah.
And any other, but maybe.
You know what's so crazy about the whole thing, though? Fetterman votes with the Democrats 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Like, he's not some raging Republican MAGA
Turn
guy.
into a moderate.
It's just like
independent thinker.
There's certain things that is just common sense for him. And he's not going to be angry at the president over every little thing. I think they're losing out on him. You're going to lose a seat. It's either you go with a Fetterman type or that's going to be a Republican seat.
Since Fetterman began casting key votes in support of President Trump and publicly criticizing progressives in his party, conservatives have been leaving the door open and at times even rolling out a welcome mat. Pennsylvania State Senator Greg Rothman, who's the chair of the Pennsylvania GOP, said he would consider supporting Fetterman's reelection if he switched parties. And Fox News' Sean Hannity said Trump himself urged Hannity to coax Fetterman into becoming a Republican in exchange for the president's support. Democrats, meantime, have mostly taken a hands-off approach. The Pennsylvania Democratic Party has previously declined to comment further on it because they're like, dang it, how do we get rid of this guy? Isn't it interesting? Common sense. It ain't complicated, guys. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program on tap next. Democrat senators acting like children yet again. No wonder Americans hate Congress. Next.
I mean, Fetterman saying he's pro-weed. Does anyone I mean,
Are you really pro-weed?
I'm not necessarily I don't care.
Yeah.
People are going to do it anyways. I don't know.
I think there are bigger things we can be fighting about.
Right. Pro-LGBT. Take out the T and all these special rights all these rights they don't have that they think they should get more of. The LG community, I have no problem with them.
Don't either.
Because the normal thinking ones don't want more. They want equal. And then there's that subsection the squeaky wheel gets all the attention that want way more. I don't know. I think
should be a member of Congress, and we should be able to change the dress code, and we want to blah, 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 blah. And all of these hospitals should chop off little girls' breasts and all this.
There's where conservatives draw the line.
You lost me on that one. Uh-oh, I have multiple hair bands going on here.
I don't know. The thing I like about John Fetterman is John Fetterman does what John Fetterman thinks is right. It's not, one would say it's not dissimilar to Susan Collins, except everything is different about Susan Collins. She wants to say that it's all about the procedural stuff and all of the things about the pomp and circumstance and the history of the Senate rules. And it's like, yeah, I understand Senate rules, but things happen and they change. And you have to be willing to pay attention to your constituents when they're like 83%. Pass the damn thing.
Well, someone's lost their name. Someone said about he's for weed, like uber strength. How's that any different than alcohol? Yeah. Like, to me, like, you can either
people
drink
are
an
getting
IPA
strung out on the street,
or a triple IPA.
Yeah.
And you get a triple IPA and
you
even
can't
one
feel
of
your
them
face.
For me, and I'm like, I'm driving drunk on a damn lawnmower, for God's sakes. 100 degrees outside, I'm on a lawnmower with a triple IPA. The stripes start looking and gotta cut it twice.
Oh, that's funny. All right. I have a little bit of a hair malfunction going on over here. Okay. Anyway, it's good to be with you guys. I love you to death. Health Revolution. If I could save you 30% right now on your health insurance premium, would that matter to you? Well, if you're anything like my family, and I'm sure our health insurance is something like $20,000 a year. I have no idea what it is. I'm sure it's more than that. Jesus. If you could tell me right now, I'm going to carve 4,000, 5,000 out of it. And that's the minimum because some people are saving up to 60%. I'm all about it. I'm making that phone call. I'm going on that website just to find out. And then when you go to healthrevolution.net, you plug it in your information, somebody's going to get back in touch with you and they're going to be like, hey, tell me about what you're looking to get medical insurance for. Do you have a pre-existing condition? Are you such and such? Do you need maternity? Blah, 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 blah. And you put together the pieces of what you want covered, right? And then they say, okay, and no co-pays, and you want to choose your own doctor. And you say, yes. Okay, here you go. And then they give you your quote and you decide, is this worth it for me or not? Why wouldn't you? If you're under the age of 65, I would strongly encourage you to go to info.healthrevolution.net or to just call 800-868-6187. Call, and I don't know if somebody answers the live phone or if they say, leave all of your relevant information. My suspicion is there's somebody who answers your phone call and they want to talk to you in the moment. And then they put you with an agent. Oh, what? We can talk to you now? Thank you. Yes, info.healthrevolution.net. I know the people behind it. They are good, honest men. Good, honest people. And the crumbling of the Affordable Care Act is real. And a lot of people are going to be scrambling, especially when Cigna gets out next year. Huh.
I typed this in there. For you people going off about weed bad. I've never had family members die from drug overdoses. I did have them die from alcoholism. So, like, to me, it's like you pick your poison because the government says one is legal. It's better. Like, I just, people are going to do what the people do. They're going to do what they do.
Yeah, it's an interesting controversy. Everybody's smoking weed all over the place anyway. Whatever. I don't really know how to litigate that. I don't know. It wouldn't be on my list of agenda items, but that's me. Whatever. Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. So whether it's a whole house set of new windows, or maybe you want to put in a new bay window, maybe in your kitchen or your living room. Maybe you need a new front door, or your soffit and fascia is just beaten. You need some gutters and downspouts because yours are toast. Maybe you want to zhuzh up the exterior by adding some fresh siding. A pop of siding on one side of your house could look beautiful. Maybe you want to add a skylight or some sun tunnels. Maybe you want to put in a new front porch, new back deck. You can. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. They're fantastic. You know this. Okay. I've got.
Wow, we've really stirred up the controversy. Phone voting, weed.
Right. What are we going to talk about next?
I know.
It's going to piss everybody off.
Right.
I find it interesting. Everybody has a knee-jerk reaction to.
I just think that you're going to do what you'd want to do. If you like weed, you like weed. If you don't,
it's not going to change what
you're not going to smoke it anyways.
Right.
And I wasn't mowing my lawn.
His lawn is AstroTurf. That'd be neat.
I'd
be like, whoa, we really need you to get off of that. He's like,
who's an elderly neighbors of my brothers?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Hour number 2 is live and on the clock. And a big thank you to all of you who have downloaded our podcast, Wendy Bell Radio. Easy to plug in wherever you get your favorite listening material, download it onto your device. 8.3 million people have. It's wonderful. And I'm super jazzed that you're here. Hello. Okay, so there was a back to work Senate stuff going on yesterday, House and Senate stuff. You know, it's embarrassing to watch the theatrics of our government. It's embarrassing to watch how rude and immature and toddler-like the Democrats, I'm going to say the Democrats are, because it simply is a fact that this is the way they behave. They interrupt the people they're supposed to be interviewing or asking questions of. They drop loaded questions. There really is no parameter on lying. They can drop lies and smear the people who are appearing before them, or just not show up, which is, I think, the most embarrassing of all, and that happened yesterday. We have to talk about that. So I want to take you inside this hearing for Todd Blanche. He was going through his questioning about becoming officially the acting Attorney General of the United States. He's been, or the official Attorney General, not the acting. And his confirmation hearing devolves into these stupid questions, this like stupid question fest with Adam Schiff gotchas and Democrat senators who think Blanche is too close to President Trump, because he was one of his defense attorneys, to do the job he has already been doing rather well. So I'm going to read you a little blurb from Gateway Pundit because I love this headline. It's fantastic. Blanche pummels serial liar Adam Schiff during confirmation hearing. I mean, it's true. Attorney General nominee Todd Blanche Wednesday faced Senate Judiciary Committee members in a confirmation hearing. Trump last month announced he would nominate Blanche to serve as Attorney General, praised Blanche on Tuesday night ahead of the hearing, and called on the Senate to confirm him as the next U.S. attorney. Todd Blanche is doing a phenomenal job as acting Attorney General of the United States. This is what Trump posted. Under Todd's incredible leadership at DOJ, murder is down to the lowest level since 1900. And we just saw the biggest one-year drop in murder in recorded history, he said Tuesday night, right? Carjackings, robberies, assaults, they're all crashing. More than 500 million deadly doses of drugs have been seized, saving countless innocent lives. This is what happens when you unleash law and order on the streets instead of protecting vicious criminal thugs and releasing dangerous illegal aliens into our communities like the Democrats did for 4 disastrous years under Sleepy Joe. So he goes on and on about Todd Blanche, and this is a respectable man. This is an honorable man from what I can tell. And I've watched him, and I've heard that maybe he wasn't on the up and up, but I got to say, from what I can deduce, he's the real deal. Well, I don't want you to hear Adam Schiff because he's such a putz. But I do want you to hear Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who is just a clown. And this senator has the opportunity to ask anything salient of Todd Blanche, but instead he chooses to go after Kash Patel, calls Kash Patel a clown, knowing full well that Todd Blanche would be in control of the FBI, and so will work closely as he has been with Kash Patel. Now, Blanche doesn't fall for it. He's not fazed by the theatrics because this is what the Democrats in the Senate have devolved to. Listen.
How long do you intend to put up with that Kash Patel character? Are you good with his airplane jaunts? Are you confident he's not drinking on the job? Are you sure none of his travel is a pretext for vacation activities like snorkeling, Olympics, and visiting girlfriends? Are you sure he knows what he's doing? Do you vouch for him? Are you willing to look at whether he lied to this committee?
That's an extraordinarily obnoxious question, Senator, and I have full faith in Director Patel and the work that he's doing every day.
Great, you get to own that.
Great, you get to own that, White House says. Todd Blanche is like, I'm good with that. That's what you want to talk about. You want to do a gotcha for a clip. Okay. This is reason 11 billion that I love Senator Eric Schmidt from Missouri. He's calling out the Democrats on the committee for alleging that President Trump's Department of Justice is the most weaponized in American history, which is laughable. We've all gone through the last several years. But Eric Schmidt has this beautiful way of absolutely pinning the tail on the donkey.
I heard one of my colleagues say that this is the most troubled Department of Justice in history. I happen to live through the previous administration where you had a Department of Justice completely weaponized against political opponents. They tried to throw their chief political opponent in jail, ruin his family's lives. You were his lawyer to see some of that, and I was with you in a courtroom in New York to witness that defense in one of those cases. Were aimed against Catholics in this country who happened to attend a traditional Catholic Latin Mass, went after parents under the Patriot Act for showing up to school board meetings to object to critical race theory or the masking of their kids. We lived through Jack Smith, and the chairman has just revealed new revelations, of course, that he was reading text messages. By the way, Jack Smith testified under oath he didn't do that. He testified that they just had the phone logs. We know that's not true now. Jack Smith should be subject to prosecution for lying to Congress. So this weaponization, let's draw a distinction. When you go after your political opponents, that is a weaponization. When you hold people accountable who weaponize the justice system, that's not the same thing.
So you just had a Democrat followed up by a Republican. You hear the difference. Now let's bounce over to Jay Clayton, right? He is the DNI nominee, asked what Democrats are desperate to get Republicans to say. They didn't want to know about his knowledge about this or that, his qualifications. What would you do in this hypothetical? They wanted one thing and one thing only. And it was obnoxious and it's embarrassing. And it shows just how petrified Democrats are that Donald Trump tonight is going to expose what really happened in 2020 and who really won. Here's Virginia Senator Mark Warner on speaking truth to power with the Director of National Intelligence nominee, Jay Clayton.
As I said repeatedly, if you're confirmed, you've got to make sure that you speak truth to power. And that means even if the truth is not the preferred narrative that somebody wants to hear. So let me just ask you, it should be a simple question. Do you deny that Joe Biden won the 2020 election?
Senator, I'm not an election denier. Joe Biden was certified as the president of the United States.
Election denial is something that we cannot have. So I will take that as you do not deny that Joe Biden won the 2020 election.
Yeah, I'm not. I think, let me just be clear. We have substantial work to do, and I've made it in improving our electoral processes. It's part of national security, and I feel strongly about that.
Okay, so you're like, okay, that's a good answer. This is a good answer. Okay, but he's not the only Democrat who wanted Jay Clayton to say this. Here comes Senator Angus King. Where's he from? Maine, I think. I don't know where he's from. Who won the 2020 election, sir? Another one piles on. Go ahead.
Who won the 2020 election?
I've answered that question. I'm not going to get into that.
You have not
anymore.
answered that question. Could you answer the question? Who won the 2020 election? Pretty simple question.
Yeah, I said I'm.
So it's A or
my
it's two
answer.
choices.
No, I'm going to give you the same answer. The answer to the chairman was, I'm.
Who won the 2020 election?
I've answered that question. I'm not going to get into that.
You have not
anymore.
answered that question. Could you answer the question? Who won the 2020 election? Pretty simple question.
Yeah, I said I'm.
So it's A or it's two
my answer.
choices.
No, I'm going to give you the same answer. The answer to the chairman was, He asked me if I was an election denier. I am not an election denier. Joe Biden was certified as
we all know Joe
president.
Biden
He went through his process. We went through our electoral process, and I can tell you that I was in my seat at the SEC, and
I'm just
worked
asking
hard
a
for the
really
transition.
simple
So-
question. Who won the 2020 election?
As I said to you, we went through our processes, and Joe Biden became the president of the United States. And that's
not an answer to the question of who. I'm asking one more time.
Okay.
Who won the 2020
I don't. I'm
election?
not. This is like I'm just not. I'm here to talk about my qualifications.
Thank you.
One of your qualifications is you told us you're going to tell the truth to power, and you won't answer a very simple question. Tell
I think
the truth to
I've
power.
answered it many times.
You have not answered it.
Okay.
You have not answered it. Saying Joe Biden was certified is not an answer.
It is an answer, though. That is the answer. Why are they so desperate? Now, I'm going to save the best for last. And we're going to hit a quick commercial break before we play this guy, Jon Ossoff, right? Senator from Georgia, who we understand could possibly be mentioned tonight. Why are the Democrats so desperate to get these top officials to say that Joe Biden was the winner of 20? Because they need to put it in all of their commercials. They need it for their public service announcements. They need it for the midterms. They need it for the general election. They need that. They're not there to talk about this gentleman's qualifications. And that should, in fact, disgust you. When we come back, Jon Ossoff, senator from Georgia. Just a bad look, bro. Next.
Sorry about that. I have no idea.
It's all good. It's all good. It's so disappointing to hear this, to see so clearly. See, once you start paying attention, you almost can't. You can't stop. Who's calling me? Who are you? No. No, in fact, I'm not going to take your call. It's so disappointing when you pay attention to what's being done. And none of it is to the benefit of we the people. There we go. You okay with my audio now? I don't know if you heard it crackling yet, but it was getting pretty light. So I just changed the batteries. All right, MCT Wellness, Dr. Gundry. Have you seen any of Dr. Gundry's commercials? Because they pop up quite commonly on Rumble. And you'll see he's talking about blueberries, or he's talking about olives, or he's talking about cottage cheese. And if you pay attention instead of clicking off of them, just for like 45 seconds, that's the guy who's behind this. That's the guy who created the powder that I drink every day that crushes my hunger and my food noise, my cravings. That's the guy who lost 70 pounds drinking this as a meal substitute because you're not hungry for several hours after you drink it. That's the guy, Dr. Stephen Gundry. His information is fascinating. And there's, in fact, a video that you need to see in order to get this and to buy it and be on the program. It's delicious, first of all. I look forward to it every day, regardless of its benefits for me with food. I would want to keep drinking it because I think it's delicious. And the blueberry one is. But the information video that you watch is so informative. And then you get to the buying page and you get 20% off with my name. Go to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Watch the video. Put it on, put in some AirPods, do some housework, right? Listen to what he says. It's fascinating. And I for a cardiothoracic surgeon to throw in the towel on his surgery career, to go full in on health and wellness and supplements, he clearly sees the benefit for his patients to do what he's doing. And he invites you to join him, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. I'm going to have to maybe make a second one. I made us lunch today, a little salty. So I've been drinking down my healthy fat.
So for you guys that have responded in the chat about the weed, and this is for me, don't just say I'm against weed. Tell me why. Like someone said they were a 30-year addict. This weed's stronger. Okay, maybe so. But because you're a recovering addict, doesn't mean other people don't benefit from it. Cancer patients benefit from it. Epileptics benefit from it.
Yes. Yes. 4,600 people. Hello. I'm so glad you're here. We're up to 434 on X. You know, that's been very exciting to watch. Kind of weird. We're past 500 a day on live on X. And it's just when all of our social media pages got hacked and we were kicked out of them and none of the companies did anything to help us, we started this with nothing. So I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you. Just get you. It's so unbecoming. Conduct unbecoming. I want to throw a flag. I want to pull out a red card. And I want to hold it up in the air, and I want to go into the Senate Judiciary, whatever the hell meeting this is, where they're ostensibly supposed to be vetting the qualifications of the man who could very well become the director of national intelligence. There are 5 million things I would want to know more than Jay Clayton's idea of who won the 2020 election. But the Democrats got the talking points. We must hit this. We've got to get these people on the record to say it because that's going to be a public service announcement. Donald Trump, the election denier. Donald Trump obsessed with losing. Donald Trump's own cabinet knows he lost. Donald Trump's a loser. Don't vote for losers. I could do it, right? I just wrote their entire promotion right there. So they need to fill in these spots. Get somebody out there. You senators, go out there and get them. Get them to say it. Do it. And so John Ossoff is like, you know what? My ass is in a sling anyway because I probably didn't win my own election. That's probably going to come out tonight. Snap. I'll take it. And so he sits down and he's got his swing at Jay Clayton. And what does he come up with? Well, he's got these 1-2 punch. Here's number one.
Who won the 2020 election?
I'm not going to do this with you.
This is a job interview. We've established that you have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee, yes? You do have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee?
Yes.
Who won the 2020 election?
Like I said, I'm not going to get into that with you.
But you do have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee.
Is anything that I just said not honest or forthright?
Yes, you're not being honest or forthright. Who won the 2020 election?
I think I've answered the question. We can keep doing this.
Well, we're going to keep doing it because you're not being honest and forthright.
No, I'm
with
not
the
going to
committee.
engage in the theater.
It's a simple question, Mr. Clayton.
And I've answered.
Who won the 2020 presidential election?
I've answered it.
You're here asking for the support of senators to lead America's intelligence community. We've established that you have an obligation to be honest and forthright with this committee and with the American public, but you refuse to answer a simple matter of fact about the 2020 election. Is that right?
No, that's not right.
Then answer the question. Who won the
I have
2020 election?
I have answered the question.
Answer it. What is your answer?
I've given you my answer.
What is your answer?
So unbecoming to you at home, because it is to me. They're desperate because they know, because they were in on it. They all worked together to do it. They know Joe Biden didn't win. Joe Biden didn't come close to winning. Only an idiot at this point, so many years later, don't know. Only an idiot doesn't know this. But John Ossoff is not done. And this is where things just get creepy.
You refuse to answer a basic question about who won a presidential election, but you asked to lead America's intelligence community? Isn't it humiliating to be unable to answer this question, to have to indulge the president's delusions? We know, you know, everybody in this room knows the truthful answer to that question. Why can you not give it?
I think I gave you the answer.
Isn't that, it's gross. This is the way Democrats speak to people. This is the way the left handles controversy. This is how they handle confirmation hearings. This is their manner of operations. They are sanctimonious. They are condescending. They want to believe they are these do-gooder champions, except they represent the dark side. I mean that when I say that. Just say it. Say it! Right? It's pathological. No. That's their 2028 campaign strategy. That's what they're doing. And that's disgusting. And so we didn't really get any kind of substantial information from the Democrats who showed up. Meantime, I should say this, there was another hearing going on, which was pretty interesting. It was a hearing about fraud, about James O'Keefe. You know that name from Project Veritas, until he got too good at that and they bounced him from that business. So he started something else, OMG, O'Keefe Media Group, where he infiltrated with a handful of other independent journalists who are doing the job that the media forgot how to do. And they went down to Skid Row in LA and they got all of the videos, Spencer Pratt too, all of the drug zombies of voting, registering to vote, voting for Nithya Raman, right? 0 Democrats showed up to talk to either James O'Keefe or Nick Shirley about the fraud that they have uncovered. 0. I'll tell you, by the way, who the Democrats were who didn't show up. Interesting. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, J.D. Vance sits down with Joe Rogan on the podcast, but it's Joe Rogan who's the interesting one next. Just say it. It's just bizarre. I mean, you see how bizarre it is. It's just like, it's not bizarre, it's purposeful. So that's the maniacal, desperate left campaign strategy. We're going to create something evil, and then we need to backfill it. We need to get the sound bites. We need to get the players to do their parts. Our big objective isn't to talk about how wonderful we are or what fantastic thoughts we have that are outside the box that are going to benefit the American people. We're on attack. All we can do is attack. We're going to attack, blah, 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 attack all day long. And I need you to get so-and-so to say such and such. And you're going to get so-and-so to say such and such. And make sure you have it and get it back to us so we can put it in our promotional materials. That's exactly what's going on. It's not about choosing a director of national intelligence. It's about this dog and pony bullcrap. It's very off-putting. As an intelligent woman, I find it offensive. But I do like gold. Now, if you gave me some gold, I'd be like, well, I'll negotiate with you. Then fine. I'll hear what you have to say. Even if you are crazy. WendyLovesGold.com. WendyLovesGold.com. Look, I know there are a fair number of you out there who are affluent or who have money, and they've been very protective of their money because you've worked hard for it, right? And maybe it's stashed in your house somewhere because you don't trust banks. Maybe it's in a bank, but it's earning like 0.3 cents, 0.03 cents a month. Why? Why not use your money and get something tangible that is such a worthwhile investment? It's gold, it's silver, it's platinum, it's palladium, it's all of the above. And our video ran out, so I'm gonna.
I'll get it.
Oh, sorry. So that's what it is. And I want you to call them 855-927-5557. Remember, this is our phone number to them. They love talking to you because people from this program, you Army folks, Wendy Bell Radio Army folks, you don't just inquire. You go to buy. If you're going to pick up the phone, you plan on going through with the purchase, right? That's what they love about you. You don't waffle. You're pretty well convinced this is something you want to do. All you need to do not be convinced, but be educated. WendyLovesGold.com. Ask how you can get 6% of free silver. So good. WendyLovesGold.com. Well, who did I just say we hadn't seen from lately? Caroline Leavitt.
Yep.
Who's in the press conference right now? Caroline Leavitt. All right, who do I want to talk to you guys about? Oh, look what I got. So I've decided, and this is because I don't think Brock necessarily wants it, but I would give it to him if he wants it. So my son Ryan, who's going to be a junior at the University of Tennessee, has a pretty brutal pre-dental school schedule. A lot of science. Last year, he basically knew with his course schedule, he was going to have very little time for a social life. He wasn't going to be able to date anybody. He's like, Mom, I don't want to go out and find somebody to date because I'm not going to have time. And I'm like, I know, Beans. But he'd worked really, really hard. And I think he got a 4.0. He did so well. Wow. I'm so proud of him. So proud of him. But I know he gets stressed. So I was going to offer Ryan a box of Calm Mood from Healthy Cell. I like the idea of taking something that has natural ingredients in it, So you would expect that REM sleep would have magnesium. Magnesium is wonderful. And melatonin, wonderful to calm you down so you go to sleep. Same sort of thing in Calm Mood. So rather than taking some kind of a pill, some kind of a Xanax or some kind of a pill to regulate your anxiety, Calm Mood, I find it's sort of like putting your legs in a warm bath. It's just sort of like, just sort of slows you down. And it feels right. I'm telling you, it's a weird way to describe a supplement, but it's how I feel. Microgel in a pouch, you peel off the top, suck it in your mouth. And that's that. Calm Mood is a berry lemon flavor. And if I hadn't already taken one, I would do it right now. But this is my go-to. I like how I feel when I take a Calm Mood. It just seems like I've got control of everything. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. For me to say to my children, hey, I think this is something that can benefit you. I don't want Ryan to start smoking a bunch of pot so he can slow down, so he can relax. If I can give you a supplement that's safe from a company, HealthyCell.com/Wendy, that I trust, that I use myself, bing, 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 bing. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. What's for dinner tonight, Brock?
Leftover pizza. Oh.
Really? I found a one-pot recipe. It has jalapenos, diced chicken breast, tomatoes, black beans, and rice, and something else. It sounds wonderful.
Maybe that's for dinner.
I think that's what I'm going to make.
So that's what I'll be having for dinner.
Either that or chicken wings.
I could do either, so.
I wasn't inviting you. I was asking you what you were doing.
Wow.
I was asking you what you were doing.
And I said nothing, and then you rattle off something, and you're like, you're not invited.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Joe Rogan's podcast I have enjoyed for the last several years. I don't get an opportunity or take the time, I should say more appropriately, to really just go through various podcasts. I just don't do it. But when I see clips of Joe Rogan interviewing people, whether they're people on the UFO files or they're members of Congress or it's Elon Musk or it's the vice president of the United States, it's always interesting. But what's been most interesting is watching the transformation of Joe Rogan over time. And I'm not going to say he was ever a conservative. If anything, Brock, would you agree with me that you'd probably peg him as a liberal? Left-leaning, at least?
I think he's what a lot of us are.
Socially
Isn't it
liberal,
sort of-
but conservative fiscally,
Yeah, because he's got a lot of money.
right?
He's one of those guys, when you say tax the rich,
He's like,
he's going to
"Whoa,"
get taxed. I think
right?
he's common sense.
I think he is too. I think he has changed quite a bit, as we all do, and it's interesting to watch. But this is very cool. So the vice president sits down with Joe Rogan yesterday, and it really is Joe Rogan who's the interesting one to listen to. We've isolated about 6 audio clips for you that I think are cool. Joe, in this one, calls the California mayoral election and the squeezing of Spencer Pratt just super sus. He's like, it's way suspicious. All of what happened, all of the mail-in ballots, all of the rules that were changed, all of the edicts that were signed into law in Sacramento, all to produce a very uncomfortable verdict that Joe Rogan is not comfortable with. Listen.
What happened with the last election in Los Angeles, just the primary, I think was
crazy.
So super sus.
Yes,
and
it
here's
is.
why it's super sus. Not just super sus that Spencer Pratt, who was in second place, got overtaken by Nithya Raman in the mail-in ballots, but that the mail-in ballots also passed a tax hike. The people voted to pay more taxes.
Yep.
In a state where you have the highest
taxes. That's right.
They're like, we don't pay enough. That is insane. Then when you have direct evidence that they were recruiting homeless people.
That's right.
And they were getting homeless people and giving them cigarettes and cash. There's evidence of this. To use their address and mail-in ballots.
Yeah, I would be the Californian Joe who wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? I'm going to go and vote for higher taxes.
I don't pay enough.
I don't pay enough taxes.
I feel like we could fix this if I just pay 5%
more taxes.
He calls out the idiocy of it, and you have 9 million, 11 million people on a daily basis who pay attention, and a lot of them are, by the way, Generation Z men. A lot of young men pay attention to what Joe Rogan says. They know what the hell is going on, and this is where they dive into Spencer Pratt. Look, it was a mathematical equation that squeezed him out, and J.D. Vance sees it too.
So after the initial ballots all came in, it was Karen Bass was number 1, Spencer Pratt was right behind her, and then number 3, whatever this woman's name is. Nithya Raman. Okay, so you would expect the mail-in ballots to be more or less like the original ballots in terms of 1, 2, and 3. I'm not saying Spencer Pratt's going to win the mail-in ballots, but it just so happened that the third place person in relative terms did a lot better than the first and second place person.
Disproportionately better.
Such that the Republican was actually kicked out of the race so that there's not actually a real election in California. That, to me, was the crazy part. It's like you were designing the vote share in order to kick Pratt out and put the third person into second place. That, to me, is like very, very bizarre. Because what is the theory of the mail-in vote that is somehow like so much more pro-Nithya relative to Karen Bass.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
It's not supposed to make sense because they had to go to Skid Row and get a bunch of people to do that. And that's now widely documented. And yet zero Democrats went to that hearing where James O'Keefe was able to detail what he has experienced on Skid Row. Who were the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee Democrats who just no-showed? All of them no-showed that hearing yesterday. Michigan's Gary Peters, New Hampshire's Maggie Hassan, Dick Blumenthal, Connecticut, John Fetterman, Pennsylvania, Andy Kim, New Jersey, Ruben Gallego, Arizona, and Alyssa Slotkin, Michigan. They're too busy. Didn't have time to hear all about the fraud and the waste and the abuse that they clearly want to continue, the same as the ballot fraud. In audio soundbite number 3, they're talking still about stolen elections, specifically California, and the laws in the state that prevent you from asking or even showing identification or to verify who you are before you're voting. It's a clear sign of cheating. Listen.
It's just very disheartening that you have to consider the fact that it's really possible that the elections get stolen. And the California one was a big one for me.
And why not just have mail-in, or why not just have voter ID?
Yeah.
You actually
that's
saw,
insane. Not only did they not have voter ID,
Yeah.
you can't show your ID. You're not allowed to show your
You
ID.
can in fact be prosecuted if you try to force somebody to show their
Which
ID.
is, that
Yeah.
seems like you want people to cheat.
Exactly.
And this is from the same people that were saying you have to have an ID that shows you've been vaccinated just 4
So, like,
years ago to go to a
grocery
restaurant.
shopping or to go to a restaurant. Yeah, no, it's definitely, that's the part about it that I think makes most people of my political persuasion skeptical of what the Democrats are doing.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to cheat in the election, then just make everybody actually show an ID.
See, you and I are well past skepticism. We know damn well what's been going on, but do know there is a continuum, and we got to bring enough people who are awakening along for the ride. If you don't think all this stuff is super suspicious, well, you need to wake up then. And this is where Joe Rogan literally drops the stolen election gloves. And he says voter ID is common sense. And of course, the people who want to cheat. Did I just say the same one, Brock? I don't think so. Is this number 4? We on 4? Yeah. Number 4. Here we are. They just want to cheat. Plain and simple. Yeah, we know.
It's just logical.
Yes.
Like, I'm not
Every country
skeptical.
does it.
I'm not skeptical. I'm accusing them. I think they stole the election.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think it's common. And this idea that elections can't be stolen. I always say to people, okay, do you think that the amount of election fraud is 0%? No one thinks that.
Yeah.
No one thinks it's 0.
Exactly.
There's always some overzealous person that works somewhere that's doing something. There's always crazy people that like blue no matter who, we got to win, or red no matter what. There's always people, right and left, that are going to try to rig the election because they think it's imperative. Look, we saw there was people like Oprah Winfrey was saying it. Like, if we don't win this election, you may never vote again. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, why? Who's going to tolerate that?
That's
Left
right.
or right? That's crazy.
That's right.
But that attitude allows people to justify cheating.
Correct.
And I think they cheat. And I think they've been doing it forever. And I don't think there's any other reason why you would have no voter ID. And they try to say, oh, it's racist to have voter ID. Like, what are you talking about? Do you think other races are incapable of going to the DMV? That's insane.
Yeah, that's racist. It's actually super racist.
That's really
Right,
racist.
the implication of their argument is literally like blacks and Hispanics cannot go to the DMV to get an ID. By the way, if you look at the polling, Black Americans are as pro-voter ID. Even though most Black Americans vote Democrat, they're still pro-voter ID as much as white Americans is.
Most
White
Americans are voter.
So
they
this is a
want
crazy
voter ID,
thing.
except
Yeah.
for operatives.
It's just amazing. He's like, I'm not just going to pussyfoot around it. They steal elections. I'm not just thinking about it. I know it. And JD's like, yeah, I'm with you. I know. That's why they were trying to in that Senate hearing with Jay Clayton for the Director of National Intelligence job. Who won the 2020 election? Well, that's 6 years ago. Why are we still doing this? Because they obviously are scared. Audio soundbite number 5 calls out Senate rhinos who are married to old Senate procedures that they won't blow up the filibuster for to advance the Save America Act. This is some inside baseball by the vice president. Very interesting.
Federal thing. So we are right now trying to pass the Save America Act. One of its main provisions is a requirement that you do voter ID. And we actually have, I think, a majority of the Senate that would support it. But this is just weird Senate procedural bullshit. There is a subsegment of people who want voter ID but won't blow up the filibuster in order to achieve it. And so they're so married to these old world Senate procedures that they're going to make it impossible for us to pass Save America. Now, we are, for what it's worth, trying to fix that and trying to address these like weird procedural archaic things. It's insane, though. Like, if you ever, okay, I'm sure you hear people talk about the filibuster all the time.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole. Here's what the filibuster is. It is a pure Senate rule. It is a creation of the Senate procedures, which basically says that anything that has to do with the budget is a 50-vote threshold. And everything else, non-budgetary, is a 60-vote threshold. Now, as you can imagine, there's some gray area on things that maybe count as budget issues and should be 50, or are not budget issues and count at 60. So what we have tried to persuade the Senate to do is to treat the voter ID as something that can fall within the 50-vote threshold. And there is no law, there's no provision in the Constitution. It is legitimately that there are senators who are so attached to the idea that budget is 50, non-budget is 60, that they're quite literally willing to prevent voter ID in America.
I thought it was a great explanation. And then he continues. He's like, look, I was at the debate where Joe Biden fell apart, right? I was at the debate where all of the Democrats, like in the green room afterward, were going to have to go out and sell to the American people on whatever TV network they were on what a great job Joe Biden did. And he's like, yeah, in that moment, you realize it's kind of all a game.
I will say,
He's a bizarre guy.
I've only met Gavin. I think I've only met him one time in my life. And it's such a crazy experience. So the debate between Biden and Trump during the 2024 cycle, and I'm there, I'm actually doing an interview for a documentary when the debate starts. And there's this clip of me, the debate starts, I'm in the middle of this interview. There's a big screen behind me as I'm talking to the camera, which is here. And I kind of freeze and I look back at the TV and I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is actually happening. Biden is imploding, because if you remember, it was obvious from the get-go. So I go to the spin room afterwards, and that's where, all these reporters and all the surrogates of the candidates. This is before I was the VP nominee. And I'm just like, talking about how great the president did, how bad President Biden did. Okay. I see Gavin Newsom there, and he literally looks like he's seen a ghost. Like, I've never seen a person who, as good of a bullshitter as he is, who realized there was no selling that performance. Like, but can you imagine, like, try to put yourself in the perspective of a human being. I always try to, be empathetic, where Joe Biden has just had that debate and you have to go on CNN to talk about how great of a job Joe Biden did.
Well, my favorite is Joe Scarborough, because Joe Scarborough before it was like, I'm going to say something and F you if you can't take it. This is the sharpest Biden we've ever seen. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's amazing. And then after the debate, he's like, we got to get rid of him. He's got to go.
And it's interesting that JD Vance hasn't heard that, because I thought we should just play it for you because it's so interesting.
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
Okay, but don't go anywhere. I have one more audio clip for you, and it's kind of a bombshell to me. Did you know there's a former Trump insider who's been working with Israel to pay influencers here in America to keep the young conservative base pro-Israel? This is a very interesting story, and it gets dropped on Joe Rogan's podcast next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Well, at least we have a delay that we can hit that button when we miss a swear word. It was the vice president of all people swearing. I was like, sorry about that. The Simkovich Concussion Institute, you guys. I'm just going to say each of us in our lives is going to be touched by somebody who is injured in an accident, some kind of a fall, some sports injury. And it is a big killer of senior citizens, just falling and hitting your head, falling and hitting your head. It's just wipes out people because the injury to your brain can't be seen in an MRI or an X-ray or a CT scan. It's not seen because the injury, the bruising essentially of your brain happens at a cellular level. And so you can't see it, but Dr. Simkovich can feel it. So if you've never had somebody put gloved hands inside your mouth and feel around your soft palate and push things around and pull on your ear and go like that and twist you and move things around, it's not that comfortable, I don't imagine. I'm sure it can sometimes even hurt a little bit. But getting pieces that have been whacked out of place because you hit your head and had one of these things get out of whack up in your soft palate. You'd never know that that's how you can experience a concussion and have it be treated and diagnosed. That's what Dr. Simkovich does. And his team here in Pittsburgh is just phenomenal. They get people in and out and healed in like a week. And they do it every single day. The waiting room is packed every single day. 412-366-3700. That's the number to call. Call and talk to somebody. Whomever answers the phone is going to be knowledgeable. It's another nice thing I like about Dr. Simkovich. He doesn't have just temporary workers who take phone calls and leave messages for the docs. They actually know what they're talking about. So if you have a question, they can answer it, right? 412-366-3700, SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. So Tom Tillis, huh? That's a little breaker.
He's a douche. I gave you two. He's a no to Blanche, he said.
Oh, he's a no to Blanche?
Yeah, unless he meets with the Epstein victims.
Mm. This is an interesting one, though. This Brad Parscale. I remember him, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, there's offshoot money everywhere. He doesn't say, he says it's not that he's disloyal.
Okay.
It's just weird. I'm going to read you some of this article that JD Vance is going to bring up here. And an article that I was not familiar with. Not like that's surprising per se, but still it's like, interesting. These various campaigns to influence us. Everybody wants to influence the American public. We need some comments. I have 314 comments. I'd love to have twice as many. We'll have to come up with another hot question for you guys.
I don't know. I brought up weed and people went nuts.
Did they? Personally at you and only in the chat?
I don't know if it was personal. People's opinions on weed. Everybody's entitled to have them. Me included. You included. It's like a lot of things. Like, I'm not for the legalization of everything. I'm for the government leaving me alone. If I want to smoke weed, I think I should be able to smoke weed.
MR Cure. JD's great at explaining things. And I think he has a very personable style. I agree. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. JD Vance with Joe Rogan. He drops a little nugget here, something I was unfamiliar with. He's talking about a Newsweek article that came out this week, and it's kind of damning and surprising. Listen to what he says.
People are always going to try to influence the United States of America, whether they're allies of ours or whether they're enemies of ours. But again, when I open up the pages of Time magazine and I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to tank the very deal that I was pursuing, and oh, by the way, many of the people who were receiving that money were actually attacking me in completely dishonest ways, my response to that is, well, go to hell. I'm going to do what I have to do for the American people. I represent Americans first, and that's the way that I've tried to do this job.
So I'm asking myself, what is he talking about? What Time magazine? Well, I found it. Here's the headline. Came out on the 14th. Trump's ex-campaign manager is running an Israeli influence operation targeting the MAGA base. Literally everything is optics. Everything is about convincing people that that's not what's going on. It's this. Or no, don't buy that. You have to have this instead. Or, oh, don't vote that way. Did you know about blah, blah, blah? It's all about brainwashing, gaslighting, and what have you. After the U.S. and Iran agreed to a ceasefire deal on June 17th, a senior U.S. official was monitoring the online reaction when they noticed something surprising. President Trump's aides had expected his supporters to celebrate the agreement, but instead, online influencers in Trump's MAGA movement were excoriating it on social media. One shared an Israeli op-ed titled, "You could have been the greatest president of all, but you failed." Several posted the same video of Qatar's prime minister appearing to snub Vice President J.D. Vance in Israel, arguing it showed regional powers dismissing the Trump administration's naivete. Others accused Trump of surrendering before achieving a stated objective of eliminating Iran's nuclear program. And many of the posts appeared almost simultaneously with similarities in language and tone. The official began collecting screenshots and came to believe it wasn't a coincidence. Well, tracing tweets by prominent members of the online right, the official came to believe that there was an unlikely figure at the center of all of the criticism. Trump's former presidential campaign manager and digital guru, Brad Parscale. Last September, the global ad agency Havas hired Parscale's firm, Clock Tower 10, to conduct a digital campaign on behalf of the State of Israel, according to Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA filings interviewed by Time. Under the agreement, Parscale's operation would produce 100 original pieces of content each month, with at least 80% aimed at Gen Z audiences across TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and podcasts. In a services agreement draft included in the filing, Parscale also pledged to amplify the campaign across social media and through, quote, integration of narrative messaging into Salem Media Network properties and aligned distribution channels, referring to the Christian Conservative Broadcasting and the publishing company where he serves as chief strategy officer. Parscale vowed his effort would produce at least 50 million digital impressions every month, as well as influence how AI tools such as OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, and Google's Gemini characterized Israel and the war. For all of this, Israel agreed to pay Clock Tower 10 $1.5 million a month. Publicly, the campaign was framed as an effort to combat rising anti-Semitism online. An Israeli foreign minister, former official, with the arrangement, familiar with the arrangement, says there was another strategic aim: preventing young conservatives from turning against Israel. According to the official, Parscale presented himself as uniquely positioned to improve Israel's reputation among young conservatives. He stressed his experience at the helm of Trump's political operation, with a grasp of both the architecture of the modern internet and the political movement Trump had built. His position at Salem, whose radio stations, websites, podcasts, and digital properties were part of the conservative media ecosystem he promised to mobilize, was a boon as well. This is the game. It's never the truth. It's never the facts. It's never the true vote. It's always about manipulation. And from inner circles. Hour 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program on tap. This could be a far bigger lifeline for America's war heroes than we realize. Trump in Pennsylvania, what he said, don't miss it. That's scary, because I will say younger Americans They have a definite view of what's going on with this Iran deal and Netanyahu and Israel in general. And they're not fans. Young Generation Z voters, conservative voters, they don't feel the alignment with Israel that the administration does. And so $1.5 million, like, dang, that's pretty interesting. All right. Good talk, Brock. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfect with Sniper. So August is going to be a very big month for disinfectwithsniper.com. I'm just going to say. You can get it now. Totally. But you might want to wait.
What?
So instead,
there's plenty of stuff there.
Yes, go to disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Look, the knockout I use. This is probably one of the greatest products you'll ever get. If you love your garden and you have bugs eating away at your hostas or your plants or what have you, Harmony is a totally organic insect control. You've got ants, neutralizes them. Let me tell you what it says. I mean, and all their stuff is organic and doesn't hurt you, which is just bananas. I love them. Organic insect control. Nothing is safer. Nothing works better. Kills aphids, green fruit worms, brown and spotted mites, soil lice, russets, and hundreds of other garden pests. 100% not toxic, safe for plants, people, and pets. Provides organic garden protection from seedling to harvest, indoor and out. And you don't dilute it. You just spray it, open it up, boom, and you're in business. That is available alongside all of their new organic fertilizers. Citrus and fruit trees. That one's for tomatoes, vegetables, and herbs. There's the one for azaleas and rhododendron. There's one for roses. You guys deserve this. You know what? I'm going to take that home. I've got some fertilizing to do this weekend. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Oh. Got to stretch. Sorry, guys. Ugh. Okay. I might make more of this drink, Brock. I'm going in for a second.
Wow.
I've never done that before.
No.
Dr. Gundry, I love you, babe. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get some Pebble Ice, too.
So I don't know if she's going to talk about it today or not, but I tried this new product that once advertised, Cove Pure, I think it is called. It's a water purifier. I'll tell you what, I never thought there was really a difference between. I grew up on well water, so well water has a definite taste to it. But then I went to the city, and even with my filter in the fridge, you can still taste it. This stuff, reverse osmosis and stuff, it was, and I never said water was refreshing, but this water was refreshing.
Oh, wait a minute. Cove Pure. Are
yeah,
you talking about it?
I was. I said I didn't know if you were going to talk about it or not.
Yeah.
But I tried it, and
it's quite you can taste the difference.
Oh, yeah. And this machine lets you take cold, room temperature, warm, or hot. You press the button, it comes out. Kate was using it this morning when I left. And I'm super excited because I'm going to fill my...
They took it off.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'll keep talking about it. I want to know.
I'm going to fill my bourbon cube makers. So Kate bought me a bourbon ice cube maker that has the logo on it.
That's so cute.
But like they always talk about when you're drinking bourbon, having pure ice, like clear ice. I'm assuming this is going to be clear. I'll let you guys know, but you're going to tell me there's going to be ice that it doesn't taste, doesn't change the taste of the bourbon.
I'm very excited. So maybe it's okay for them to have pulled it. I want to hear your experiences a little bit more.
I had a glass this morning, and you can pick 4 ounces, 6 ounces, 8 ounces. So I just did 8 ounces. I'm like, I'll have a glass of water. I mean, it was refreshing. It was refreshing.
That is so weird. Because I have to admit, I was like, what's this? It's a very professional product.
It is.
It's very handsome, and it comes in this great box, and you're like, wow, this is serious. It's a deal. It's a real deal. But I'm like,
it's got like reverse osmosis in it.
It's like Blood Flow 7. You're like,
is this really?
Is this something that matters? And then you're like,
I can't wait to make ice for my bourbon cubes.
Huh.
I can't wait just because, the impurities, and it counts on the machine. What it should be is like 100, right? And it counts up what yours is of the impurities. And I told Wendy this morning, I'm like, mine said 585. I don't even know what it means, but it sounds bad. Like, what the is in this water? City water tastes like garbage to begin with. Everyone has. Let me put it this way: the water company was giving out 0 pitchers when they were changing the pipes. It's that bad.
What's a 0 pitcher?
It kills out most of the.
I mean, I kind of gathered that,
Yeah.
but
Well, they were giving them out.
1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared. You from Make America Great Again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live. These are the sorts of stories that can get buried, that I think have such a profound impact on all of us. And it's something that President Trump did yesterday in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He came to Carlisle, PA. He was speaking at the Pennsylvania Defense and Innovation Summit. And he stood there before the crowd, and he made a promise that will resonate with every American who has ever watched an 18-wheeler drift across a line, and wondered who was behind the wheel. And we've chronicled the rise in accidents, in horrendous, fatal, fiery crashes, because criminal illegal aliens behind the wheel of America's big rigs who don't speak English, who don't know our road signs, but who are cheap labor and don't complain. We've watched this on the road. And if you haven't been trepidatious, if you haven't wondered who the person is next to you in that big rig, right? This is what Donald Trump said. Veterans who drove heavy trucks for the military will be automatically eligible for commercial driver's licenses. And the president hopes that those veterans will slide behind the wheel of these tractor trailers across the coast to coast, and replace these illegal aliens who put all of us in danger. This is what he said. And I think it is so valuable. And it could be a total deal changer for how many thousands of American veterans. Listen.
And because we're here in Pennsylvania, where State Trooper Michael Farrow was killed just 2 weeks ago by an illegal alien operating a semi-truck on a commercial driver's license, which he should never have had. He was here illegally, came in through Biden. Today, I'm making one more important announcement. My administration will soon take historic action to get illegal alien truck drivers who are just killing a lot of people. They can't read signs. Many of them are on drugs or alcohol, and they shouldn't be driving these things. And they came in totally illegally, and we don't want them, but they are driving all over American roadways, and we're going to replace them with proud American veterans who are going to take our veterans, who are going to make them, we're going to teach them a lot about driving trucks, and in many cases they know. We're going to say any American who's driven a heavy truck for our military will automatically be eligible for a commercial driver's license. So we're going to get them taken care of.
Now, here's why I think this is so significant. Replacing danger with American heroes, many of whom have come back from various assignments, deployments. It's like retiring. Once you come home and you're done, it's like, where's the schedule? Where's the purpose? Where's my everyday meaning? And a lot of veterans slip through the cracks. They feel like there's nobody to talk to. This group mission they had with Brothers in Arms is over. And literally, there's no assimilation back into private life. What do you do? And what if you've been injured? President Trump is saying, you know what? We need leaders on the highways. We need to get rid of these people who are putting everybody in danger. We need to put men and women who have served this country, who understand these rigs, who understand heavy machinery. Let's give them a job. Go out there and make America's roads safe. Go out there, be our eyes and our ears, transport things that we need, but be a leader in that vehicle. I mean, it's not just driving a truck. I don't think that's how the president sees it. It's not just, well, you got a bunch of people who aren't working right now, so let's give them a CDL and give them a job. No meaning, purpose. Veterans, 100% veterans. You guys know that right now there are 100 veterans serving in the Congress? Why isn't it at least half? Well, why should we not look to the serviceman or woman, regardless of their political identity, how they vote? We know something about you. You did what 99% of the rest of us didn't. And many of you did it again and again and again and again. You didn't just put your hand up and say you'll serve. You'll put yourself in the line of fire. You will be a casualty so that America can be forever. You're a hero to us. We want you in positions of power. 100 veterans in government right now. 80 serve in the House of Representatives, 20 in the Senate. And that's going to change. There is a record number of military veterans running for office this November. Brock, do you have a pie in the sky number? What you think? How many it is? We've got 100 in office. What do you think is the number? Record number running for office.
You said we have 100 in there now.
Yes.
Running, I'm going to say 112.
752.
I was close.
752 veterans are running this midterm election. And there's an organization called With Honor Action, I should say. They tracked a record 752 veterans running for Congress this midterm, including an historic surge in women veterans. With Honor Action today released new data showing a wave of military veterans stepping forward to serve in Congress. 752 veterans all across the 50 states have run or are running for federal office this cycle, the highest number that With Honor has tracked since it began monitoring veteran candidates just 8 years ago in 2018. This figure marks a 47% increase from 2024, when With Honor Action tracked 513 veterans running for federal office, and surpasses the previous high of 744 veteran candidates in 2022. The most dramatic growth is among women. Female veterans. With Honor Action is tracking 95 women veterans running or who have run for federal office in 2026, up from 40 in 2024, a 137% increase, and the highest number the organization has ever tracked. Why? All of a sudden, they think it seems like it would be so much fun to be a member of Congress? No. And I think this is the cool part about the military mind. Like you don't just stitch service and valor to a jacket. Like you have it, you feel it, you breathe it, you live it, you are it. It pulses through your body. And if you're an American veteran and you see what's going on in Capitol Hill, I'm sure you're disgusted. I'm sure you looked in the mirror and said, I didn't travel halfway around the world 4 times in 4 years to be disrespected and misrepresented by the people in there now. Boobs like John Ossoff and Sheldon Whitehouse and Mark Warner, whose number one gotcha question yesterday on Capitol Hill of the guy who's trying to become the next director of national intelligence is to get him to admit that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. This is unacceptable. This is a country that's going nowhere fast if that's going to be the elected leaders. At a time when Americans are exhausted by division and hungry for leaders who know what it means to serve something larger than themselves. That's it. Veterans are stepping forward in historic numbers. This is the co-founder and CEO of With Honor says about this surge of veterans. We can't have enough. We can't have enough of these people. Maybe if we start peeling away the lifelong politicians, those who've never served anybody, they believe they've served their constituents, but that train left the depot a long time ago. The Chuck Schumers, the Jamie Raskins, the Adam Schiffs of Congress. Maybe if we start replacing these people who don't deserve the privilege and the honor of serving in the House or the Senate with veterans, maybe that's going to be part of the secret sauce of saving America, part of the golden age. How about we start by getting them behind the big rigs? How about that? I'll feel a lot safer driving next to someone with a Vietnam veteran cap on than a turban. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends, leftist podcasters, oh my, you can't miss this, trashing Christianity and homeschooling. You guys remember that name, Jennifer Welch? Ugh. Wait till you see this one next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Going against Christianity, parenting, being a mom. Like,
this one just floored me.
And then I asked Brock to do a little research this morning as I was running around, and he found me the mother of all stories about homeschooling versus not. You know, and they say, well, I mean, if you homeschool your kids, they miss out on the socialization. I don't know about that. I don't really know about that. Because ostensibly...
You can still be in the sports and the band and the... What?
Yeah, and by the way, in rural communities where homeschooled kids are a lot of the norm, It's amazing when you're part of a family and the family owns a farm, owns a business, right? There's not a whole lot joining the baseball team. You're working on the farm. So it makes logical sense to be schooled at home by people who have a complete vested interest in your outcome. You're not money in a seat. See, you're a dollar sign in a seat. Cub Pure, is with us. I was on the wrong week. Oh my goodness. I'm going to read you all about it. You guys ready?
I already told them what they need to know. Bourbon ice balls.
So Forever Chemicals. Brock was talking about chemicals and things. Did you guys know that over 176 million Americans are drinking tap water with these PFAs, these forever chemicals in them? Man-made chemicals used in food packaging, nonstick cookware, firefighting foam. Scientists call them forever chemicals because once they're in your body, they stay there. They don't break down. They're linked to hormone disruption, immune damage, and increased cancer risk. But this Cov Pure water purification, it was engineered exactly for this. Unlike the normal pitcher filters you get in the store, their clear wave reverse osmosis technology is certified to remove up to 99.9 literally percent of contaminants, PFAS, heavy metals, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, filtering particles hundreds of thousands of times smaller than a single human hair. That's crazy. The best part about Cov Pure is they make it so easy. It sits right on your countertop. You don't have to drill any holes or call a plumber. You literally plug it in.
Yep.
Don't wait. Don't do this. Take control of your water right now. Head to Cov Pure, C-O-V-E, covpure.com/WBR. covpure.com/WBR. You'll get $250 off for a limited time. Holy cow. covpure.com/WBR. That's nuts. So, and by the way, even though we know these PFAs are in the water, the EPA has set legal limits for PFAs in drinking water back in, they set them in 2024 under Joe Biden. Water systems have until 2031 to comply. So you've got another 7 years. Or 7 years from then, you've got another 5 years now to comply, for them to comply, to still be drinking all of this jazz.
So I grew up in the country. And about a mile from our home, we had a natural spring.
Mm-hmm.
I compared this with the natural spring. And there is nothing better than a natural spring. It's so cold and like just, it's refreshing. This, I put it up there.
Really?
With the natural spring, yeah.
Now, it doesn't cool it, though. It's just room temperature, and then you put it on ice?
No, you can have cold, room temperature, warm,
Why
and
did
hot.
why did I give it to you again?
I don't like clutter on my countertops. Whatever. Same with the oven.
It's true.
I don't like
you
clutter.
have gotten
I
such
love.
a benefit.
Here's the thing. I don't like clutter.
Yes.
Turned into you buying one.
Say that. I don't like calling people names by and well, that's not true. I do. But this gal, wow, she is a white, toxic, college-educated liberal nightmare. And she's got a friend with her. She's got a friend whose name is Angie Sullivan. And yesterday they were talking about Christianity, about being moms, about the drag of having kids, and about homeschooling. And it was such a wild comment. I'm not normally inclined to put just wacko lunatics on the show, but this is how people who masquerade as normal people among us feel about family, about faith, about all of it. It's jaw-dropping. Listen.
You would not believe how many people in Bible study homeschool their kids. And you just think, I worry about that. And then you see those witness booklets or whatever they're called that the Duggars use, and they're like top out at 8th grade. I mean, I just think homeschooling is a bad idea from soup to nuts. I don't care if you're a nuclear physicist. I think it's just weird as that you want your kids around you all day, every day, and all night. And just the socialization. For me personally, it was that I would have gotten up on my hands and knees and strapped them to my back and crawled to get them to school every day, just to get them where I wasn't. So I don't trust somebody that wants to be with their kids 24/7. I think a lot of dumb people do it because it's just easier. And that's a concern. And I've had divorce cases that, like, mom's mad at dad. They're fighting over whose school district the kid's going to use their address. They put them on homeschool. It's like 2 or 3 hours a day at the computer. And then the kids are going just off to the races. So I just can't think of very many good things about homeschooling.
Really? That's an interesting perspective from somebody who clearly never wanted to be a mom or does not like being a mom. Can you imagine hearing your mom saying that about you on social media?
Well, in fairness, if our kids are anything like her, I wouldn't want to be around them all day long either.
My goodness. So we found this article, Public School versus Homeschool Statistics, a comprehensive analysis. These people are idiots who talk about homeschooling in a negative light. I want to scroll down to this one subsection, this fifth part, because it's very interesting. How do homeschoolers fare after high school? Perhaps the most compelling data point in our entire analysis, this organization, 74% of homeschooled students attend college. 74, so 3 out of 4, compared to just 44% of public school graduates. Once in college, homeschool students don't just show up, they outperform, averaging a first-year GPA of 3.41 versus 3.12 for public school graduates. It's pretty big. How about this? The average SAT score. Homeschool child, 1190. Public school, 1060. Homeschool advantage, 130 points on the SAT. Average ACT score. Homeschool, 26.5. Public school, 21. A bonus of 5.5 points for an ACT score for the homeschool kids. College acceptance rate, 87%. Public school kids, 68%. College retention, how many stay for at least from 1 year to the second year? 88% of homeschool kids go back for a second year. 80% of public schools. 4-year graduation rate, 50% of homeschool kids go to graduate school, graduate school. 37% of public school kids. And the 4-year graduation rate for homeschooled, 66.7% compared to 57.5%. So whatever reason these two women who are very liberal, white, college educated, toxic, liberal chicks, the scourge of our society, whatever reason they decided to pounce on Bible study, Christianity, motherhood, and homeschooling. Why do you have to wade in on that? Something you know nothing about. You know, and I've told this story before of my son, Jack, the second oldest of my sons, winning our school's geography bee. And twice. And the hundreds top scores in the state go to Harrisburg, the state capital, every year, and they compete in the national geography bee. 60 to 70% of the kids with Jack were homeschooled. Do you think that's just cause? Or do you think it's because it really, really works? And where else do you get somebody who's completely invested in your success, learning, graduating, and succeeding than you get from home, right? I find it very interesting the things that liberals want to rag on, finger wag, be sanctimonious, and talk down to us about. And I feel bad for them. I do. I feel bad for them. But I will stand by my supposition that I made years ago. There are some people who just clearly won't be saved. And those two broads are among them. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, censorship, we all know, is un-American. So Brendan Carr, FCC chair, is asked, should the big three television networks carry the president's address tonight? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The answer coming up next on the Wendy Bell radio network.
I'm going to go with my comment this morning to you. That lady wants me to believe that she goes to Bible study
Now, I don't think she goes to Bible study. I think she's merely saying that.
Well, how would she?
Exactly. But
how would she know unless you're Bible study?
How would she know about the benefits of homeschooling or if it was a bad deal? She knows nothing. Right? I don't know.
I understand not wanting to be around your kids all day long. I don't think I would want to be around anyone all day long.
I can only tell you that if you look at results purely academically, there's no question that homeschooling is preferred.
I think you
no question.
Best. Who has more of a vested interest in your success than your parents? For no other reason,
the number one thing
for this lady to get you out of the house.
I say to my kids, and I have commonly when Joe and I try to tell them something and they refuse to listen. I'm like, again, the two people in your life who aren't going to screw you, who have every interest in your well-being, who created you, who want everything for you. Why would you not listen to us? Literally, a homeless guy could run. He could come out of the woods with weeds in his hair, and my kids would be like, "Oh, very interesting point. I should swing my bat like this." But I'm like, "Well, maybe you want to." And they're like, "Man, Mom's telling me," and I'm like, "Okay, well, what do I know?" Okay, but yeah, they talk that the whole. I don't know if it's just liberals, those two particularly, but why would you have a conversation about something legitimately you know nothing about? You're not even going to do any research, right? Not even going to do any research. More Gains Fitness. I just got to show her.
Yeah, that's research.
No, it's going to be my girl.
Oh.
I'm going to do my girl. Okay, so
Coconut.
if you if you could do 3 months, 90 days. Okay? I think she's cute to begin with. Here she is. Look at this cutie patootie. Having fun, drinking some kind of a fantastic drink. That's probably why I like this picture, because I'm like,
right.
That's got rum in it.
Wow. It's rum, tequila, beer.
Anyway, 90 days. She worked her can off 90 days. Watched what she ate, exercised, did all of the things Kelly Morgan at More Gains Fitness did for her, told her to do. New body. Look at that. Old body. New body. Old body and new body.
You never show the lady with the nice can.
Oh, she does have a nice little butt, doesn't she? I can say that about a woman. I know when a woman's when a woman's pretty. Oh wait. The three dudes who did it together.
No,
I know. Okay. More Gains Fitness, MORGAINZ Fitness. Remember this month for WBR fans, friends, all of us. $99 for Kelly's program. She'll give you the exercises, she'll give you the food, but you don't get the one-on-one. If you want the one-on-one, that's different. That's 90 Ignite. But go to More Gains Fitness. Look at the difference. Look at
it's a nice can.
Look at her cute little butt. Look at her cute little butt. Look at this. First of all, she's not fat to begin with, right? But hi, Ripio. Hi, leg press fiend. Hi, looking good in your little black bikini.
Rub tulip blooms all over.
My goodness. She is super cute.
What's that?
MoreGainsFitness.com. Yes, right. See, once you have exposed skin, then you want to put tulip blooms all over it. I'm just going to say it's true. Brock's right about that. We're making fun of it, but we're not. Hey, you know what? I have a couple minutes to tell you about Lean. Take Lean. This is another one of those products that operates like a GLP, but it's not. These are products that are not pharmaceutical. These are products that use things in nature that we've known about for millennia and put it together in a product that forces you to lose weight. How does it force you to lose weight? Well, it kills your appetite, which is so helpful, but then it converts fat into energy. Yes, every day and 5 times on Sunday. And then it lowers your blood sugar. How about that? Take Lean. TakeLean.com. This is one of those products. It's not for the casual dieter. This is for somebody who legit is going to skip a meal a day because it's going to kill your appetite. And it's going to also, right? It's going to cause you to lose weight because you're not thinking about the food. I'm just saying it's great. TakeLean.com, 20% off with my name. TakeLean.com, enter Wendy for your discount. TakeLean.com, promo code Wendy. Look, it's Brickhouse Nutrition. You know how I feel about those people. Those people are awesome. They gave me Field of Greens, which changed so many people's lives.
You know how there's always those people that stand out? They're a caller or a testimonial. The guy for Field of Greens whose wife was going through cancer, helped grow her hair back. The guy who called us during COVID 5 years ago about his granddaughter his daughter not letting him see his grandchildren because he wouldn't get the jab. There are certain people out there that just stick with you.
You know, I just think that we all should be able to decide for ourselves. And I love that. I love that about you guys.
Man.
Because this whole idea spurred by this Jennifer Welch and her friend Angie Sullivan discussing, and I missed the broader context of what they were talking about in the last segment, in all fairness. But they're speaking about things of which they have very little clue. And it's dangerous. We all do it. I'm guilty too. But if you're going to make a very strong comment about Christians or about parents who homeschool their kids, if you're going to make really big, sweeping comments about that, that's a dangerous thing to do, but it's something very common on the left, I see. If they disagree with you, or you don't see the world through the cult lens, and it's probably not fair for me to call them a cult, but they have culty ways of behavior. You've got to get in line. You've got to do what we say. There is no deviation. Think about their treatment of John Fetterman. Pennsylvania Democrats don't want John Fetterman anymore as their senator. Well, they hid from us that the guy had a stroke until right before the debate. Literally, they hid from us. They put him in a closet so we didn't know. And then when they brought him out as the candidate, and we were like, wait, say what? They tried to get angry at us for calling out the obvious, like, dude can't put a word together. Is he okay? And called us names. You're being ableist. You're being discriminatory. How dare you? It's like whatever they need to do to win something, to get something across the finish line, to score a point or what have you, they're willing to do. And they'll fight you and drag you for it if you don't let it happen. Meanwhile, Republicans are like, look, I didn't vote for him, right? But I really like a guy who stands up for his own convictions. I like someone who believes north is still north, even if his compass is like Jack Sparrow's in the Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's always spinning around, it's got nothing, nobody knows where it's going. If that's your compass, but you're following it, and you're true to that, I like you. I don't need you to 100% believe everything I say or support everything I say, any more than you should expect people in your orbit to parrot you or 100% believe the same thing. That's not what America is. America isn't about 100% we all agree harmony. It's about, in fact, the dissent. It's about people from different places who've had different experiences. It's about different cultures and different flavors. It's about different strategies, different ways of thinking, all kind of coming together at the end of the day and hopefully looking around as the sun sets, whatever your view is, as that sun goes down, to share in the feeling that, God, are we lucky? We used to be able to communicate, to disagree with one another. And I don't know when it was where everything went haywire. And I don't know if there was a patient zero per se. What was it? Was it Barack Obama? Did that one individual launch us on this terrible course where now we're like these arch enemies who judge one another and suppose things? I'm as guilty as the next person. I was shocked yesterday. I'm outside watering my plants because it's 1 billion degrees. We live on the sun in Pittsburgh. It's just been hot. So I'm outside watering, and a neighbor, I don't know her name. Shame on me. I have no idea. In fact, the street across the street from me, I live on the end of a cul-de-sac. I'm across the street from this cul-de-sac street. I don't talk to them. And it's wrong. I'm shame on me. But your cars can only be vandalized so many times, and your Christmas lights broken, and your signs to support the police vandalized, and nails left in your driveway hoping to puncture your tires. And it's hard to not presume it's somebody right here in my neighborhood. And so I guess as a matter of self-protection, I've just stopped paying attention to everybody else. And so when I'm outside, I don't even look up. I mean, maybe I'm the problem. But yesterday, I'm out there watering, and this woman, whose daughter I'm pretty sure is the one who vandalized my "We Back the Blue" sign, was walking her dog. And she waved at me and smiled. And I was like, what was that? What was that? And I was suspicious. Oh my gosh, what happened to me? I guess you get treated unfairly enough that you build a wall and you stop trying. And I think a lot of us stop trying. I'm not saying that this is a good thing. I'm almost embarrassed to tell you this, but it's true. And I looked at this woman who then walked her dog down the street, and I was like, does she not have her glasses on? Like, does she, I don't know, is she on a Percocet? Like, is she feeling good and just wanted to say hi? Like, I've never seen a smile from that woman, nor has she ever looked in my way. And then, of course, my brain starts. And I'm thinking, well, maybe, is it possible? Are some of my neighbors waking up? Are they beginning to see some of the stuff that I've been talking about for the last 6-7 years? To the best of my ability, probably not always well, but to the best of my ability, honestly, calling out the fraud, calling out the scary stuff that we were doing, and all the stuff with COVID. Are they finally coming out of the slumber? I don't know. I know I want to get back to that point where you can know I'm a conservative talk show host, that I bleed red, and it's not because it's the color of blood, that I feel that way inside. But I don't have to be rude to you. I don't have to be mean to you. I'm not going to vandalize you. I'm not going to badmouth you. I'm not going to try to hurt you. You're entitled to be wrong. I'm kidding. You're entitled to have your own opinion. And we have to get back to that. We have to get back to that. And this whole thing about the president in this address tonight, I mean, literally, you cannot pay for better advertising than this cat's gotten, the president. He's gotten 4 days of wall-to-wall panic speculation, like hyperbole, supposition, dreamscaping, leaking, like everything in the world. 4 days of it. And now you have the television networks who are exposing to you their own dirty, dark truth. That they are not public operators of communication. That they're not some do-gooders who believe in information and both sides and an informed electorate is a wise electorate. No, they're in bed with the Democrats. You know this. There's only one reason any of these television networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, would not cover President Trump's address, for which they received 4 days advance notice. Because they don't want their people to hear what the president is presenting, that he and his team at the DOJ have spent better part of the last decade accumulating. And they're scared. It's not because he's going to lie about the election. It's because he's got incontrovertible truth and facts about it. Proof of malfeasance interference, whether it's China, whether it's whomever. They don't want you to know their role in years of creating enemies between us. Honestly. That's the point. Brendan Carr asked about it. This guy, Leland Vittert over at News Nation. It's actually a pretty good interview. He's like, look, we're understanding that there's some pressure. AOC and her mastermind of genius, she's like, I don't think we should be talking about fake news as much. And these are the people who put up the January 6th, dog and pony show for you. Brendan Carr asked, as FCC commissioner, should they be broadcasting the speech tonight? Listen to the answer.
Should the networks air President Trump's speech tomorrow night?
Of course, yeah. I think it's going to be a really important newsworthy event. Anytime the president of the United States stands up there in prime time to deliver information or news or content, I think broadcasters should want to make sure the American public can see that. And I think you see a lot of Democrats like AOC, and obviously they want complete and total control over the news and information that American people want. But let people hear directly from the president, unmediated by anybody. And people are smart enough, they can make their own mind up. But yeah, I do think that this is something that the American people have every right to be able to get over the airwaves.
You said they should want to, the network should want to, and the American people have a right. Do you think the networks have a responsibility in terms of their TV licenses, the local broadcasters and the networks themselves in terms of public interest have a responsibility to air it?
Well, look, broadcasters are fundamentally different than all other means of distribution, whether it's cable or podcasts, and broadcasters have a responsibility and an obligation to operate in the public interest. In terms of being, more specific than that here, I'll avoid sort of generating the headline on this one, but I do think it's one that, a lot of people are going to be interested in and want to see.
But he said something very interesting. Let the people decide. Let the people decide. Present the evidence, provide the details, and then leave it into the hands of the people. They're smart enough. See, Democrats want to decide for you. There's a difference. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, our friend Anonymous over at Deepfake Quotes has a pretty interesting drill down. If anybody out there is interested in building their own grift, I mean, there's so many of them going around right now. How hard could it be? Well, we've got the 8 steps for you. Pretty interesting stuff next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. What would encourage my neighbor who's never looked at me before to smile at me, walking her dog? I was like, I am a lightning rod in my community. Everybody knows who I am. I don't know who they are. It's not an advantage. And it's not some gloaty thing. Oh, I'm so popular. Everybody knows who I am. No, everybody knows who I in a town like Pittsburgh, you know, a former television news person is a celebrity, right? Whatever. But it's not because of that. It's because I'm conservative. And so I'm like the anti-celebrity. But I'm walking by and there's a guy on, he's coming out his steps and he always takes great care of his grass. And I was like, dang, I want whatever you're using. He hasn't cut his grass in a while. And he's like, I'm afraid to cut it because I don't want to burn it because of the heat right now. But he knew my name. He's like, hey, Wendy, how are you? Have no idea who he is. Shame on me.
I'm horrible with names.
Shame on me. I am horrible at names and it's embarrassing. And it's to the point where I have to have Joe be my wingman when I'm like, I don't remember their name. And then Joe's like, hi, I'm Joe O'Toole. And they're like, I'm Sheila Blackburn. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. How rude of me. No, it's that I suck. That's what it is. I personally suck. I'm keenly aware of that fact. And it stinks. I want to get a book that teaches you about memory. Like, how do you remember people's names? How do you improve your memory?
Ask them a question, which you're good at, that will jog your memory.
So embarrassing.
When you first introduce yourself to someone. I've read that somewhere, that will help you remember who they are. If you ask a question that's pertinent to your life.
I think the thing that wounded me the most, and I think the thing that started my brick wall, was when my very close friend across the street, who Joe and I helped out when they were struggling, and he was trying to start a business, and I'm godmother of his son, and he's godfather of the twins. When I started on the first radio station, he basically severed all ties, because even though I had been around him and all of the neighbors who were all progressives and liberals and whatever, and I never said anything, not my business. The minute I came out of the conservative closet and started speaking about what I felt, I was no longer worthy. And that was extraordinarily wounding. And that wasn't the only person it happened to me with. It was probably 4 or 5 in the near vicinity of my house. It was very wounding.
That's a reflection of them.
Of course.
Not so much you, because all your kids' sons or all your sons' friends, what's the first thing they do when they come into your house? When you haven't seen them in a while?
They find me. They come to find me.
They come give you a hug. You're like the you're like the second mom to everyone. Everybody growing up had a friend's parent is like the second mom, That's the true test.
I get that, and we could say, well, it's them, not you, and I get that, and there's a lot.
Oh, I got people that don't like me because of you.
There's family members.
Yeah.
Family members that literally severed all ties with him because he's my producer. That's unfortunate.
No, it's not. Saves me time and
Christmas cards. And I get it. Yes.
To me, it exposes them for what they are.
It's just it's so unfortunate. I wouldn't do that to you. Only one who's built a brick wall. I know you've done it too. For what? For what? What are we fighting over? What politics are we fighting over? See, it used to be that even though we had different political parties, the main agenda was always America. We could at least at the end of the day go get a beer together because the focus was still on America. But then somewhere that changed. And the older I got, the more palpable it became to me. And then I started having children. And then I started paying attention to schooling. And I paid attention to the neighborhood, and I paid attention to the news business. And with my husband being a doctor, I started watching what was going on in medicine. And it seemed like every single aspect of our life was infiltrated by something that we didn't ask for. Some weird ideology, woke idea. It's so preposterous. And there are times I hope that I wake up in the morning and it's like Bill Murray on Groundhog's Day. And he wakes up and every day it's the same day. Every day it's the same day. And it's like he has to learn about his own foibles and his own problems and things that he does wrong. And as he notices and sees himself and repeats the same day, he makes these changes and becomes this better self, better vision of himself, right? And then it's almost like whomever's in charge of it, the day finally comes where it's no longer the same day. It's a new day. I want that new day. And I know it's not going to just happen like it does in the movies. Anonymous from Deepfake Quotes on X has a way to send us off into the afternoon today, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, how to build a grift. And Anonymous here reveals the 8 steps to literally brainwashing your own followers into believing something that doesn't exist and then having them fight for it. So true.
So, you want to be a grifter. Step 1, don't sell a product, sell an identity. Make people feel they're joining a movement, not buying an idea. Now they're emotionally invested. Step 2, tell them they're smarter than everyone else, that they've discovered the truth while everyone else is asleep. People rarely abandon beliefs that make them feel special. Step 3, find an enemy, the media, the government, the elites, the establishment, another political party, a secret cabal. It almost doesn't matter. A common enemy creates loyalty faster than a common purpose. Step 4, never provide enough evidence to settle the question. Provide just enough to keep people coming back for the next revelation. Mystery is renewable. Proof ends the story. Step 5. When someone asks hard questions, don't ask them. Question their motives. Call them jealous, controlled opposition, a shill, or simply claim they're afraid of the truth. If people begin attacking each other instead of examining the evidence, you've won. Step 6. Keep the prediction just over the horizon. Next week, next month, soon, very soon. When it doesn't happen, move the goalposts. Repeat. Step 7. Mix undeniable facts with speculation. The facts earn trust. The speculation rides in beside them. Most people stop noticing where one ends and the other begins. And finally, step 8. Convince your audience that doubting you means betraying themselves. Because once questioning becomes disloyalty, the grift no longer needs you. It runs itself. Congratulations. You now know how to build a grift, which also means you now know how to recognize one. Truth invites scrutiny. A grift fears it. My friends, question everything, then question everything again. We are all anonymous.
What a great line. Truth invites scrutiny. A grift rejects it, right? That's exactly what we're experiencing these last several days in the lead up to President Trump tonight. They don't want you to hear it. They don't want you to know the facts. They don't want you to hear him lay it out on the table. They don't want you to see the overlay. They don't want you to see the PowerPoint presentation. They don't want the details. They just want you to believe that man, that one man, Donald J. Trump, he's obsessed, he's crazy, he's bad for this country, and he must be taken out some way or another. That's dangerous. That's why so many young people, progressives, remember, they had to go see therapists and get on drugs for anxiety. Step away from the Kool-Aid, right? Let's see what the president says. Let's talk about it tomorrow. See if all of these people, these leakers, were correct or not. So great to be an American. So delighted to be able to talk to you every day. Thank you. Peace.